I'm a dummy dum dum. Anyway, I clicked the leave button instead of the start button.
Mm.
Shalom, Baruch welcome. Today we're gonna be going through Islam and the slavery stuff within Islam and also within Afghanistan. So,
The haven of progress.
yes, the most progressive system that's ever existed in history.
Isn't it Afghanistan that's its age of consent is puberty? Is that right?
That's Saudi Arabia.
I know they are.
I think there's actually multiple Muslim countries that have that.
Yeah. Hold on. Oh my gosh, dude.
Afghanistan's legal age of consent aligned with its marriage laws, 16 for females and 18 for males.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wait, under the former national civil code, but religious and customary practices, especially under the Taliban, often permit marriage after puberty, allowing girls as young as 15 or younger to consent.
Boom. Yeah. There it is.
Yemen is the same way. Philippines, Sharia in the Philippines also does that. Iran is girls can marry from age 13 or older. Iraq is 9. And some other Sharia strongholds in Africa also do it.
That's why I was thinking about Iraq, because I knew one of the countries specifically had 9 as the set age because of Aisha. Gotta justify it.
Video coming out tomorrow is going to be similar to that. Do I have a lag whenever I talk?
Or do you hear my audio a little bit?
Yes, there's like a very slight lag.
There's a lag?
Yeah.
Now it's more prominent.
It's not slight anymore.
It's bad.
Oh,
nope.
It's fixed.
Okay. It's fixed?
It fixed? I think something's wrong with StreamYard.
I think it's wrong with me.
Well, there's plenty wrong with you.
It's the government's hacking my system.
Jibril got your mic.
Jibril got everything, man. I don't know. I could restart and fix it.
Did you guys see Sneeko's debate against Moist Critical on the age of consent?
No.
You did it?
No.
Oh, I did, yes.
It was really... Well, okay, it wasn't funny to watch insofar as, like it's a serious topic that's really, like, you know, uncomfortable. But Moist Critical is just sitting there like, I don't know. I think 18's pretty good. and Sneeko's like, yeah, but like, you know, but like some people are mature before that. And he's just like, yeah, but I think 18's pretty good.
Oh my gosh. Did you go? So I know Chase, I told you about what God Logic was doing. Did you ever go watch anything about that?
About what? The Uthman thing?
Yeah, like when he went and like tried to.
Yeah, so Uthman. I watched IP's stream with him and David talking about.
Okay, well, the one where he went. The reason I even bring this up is the one that he went in person, to try and confront Uthman.
He did it twice
at his booth. Yeah, 2 different ones. The first one at the booth. This
3
comes
times,
around,
including the booth, because he went to 2 different, or he went to the same mosque twice.
Oh, yeah. Well, so when he was at the booth in Las Vegas, and Uthman wasn't there, the guy he talked to, they had a like pretty long conversation where that guy straight up admitted he would, you know, hand his daughter over.
Yes.
At, you know, and Avery's like, all right, let's move on. This is a sensitive subject. Let's just move on. And the guy just kept doubling down. He's like, no, I'd give my daughter over right out the womb.
Yeah.
Was that the conversation where the guy was talking about Jesus? And he was like, yeah.
He also said that they respect Jesus more because he would give his daughter over in marriage to Jesus.
Yeah.
And
he was like, yeah, 6-year-old daughter to Jesus. Yeah. You have a problem with that?
And that's when
I don't have a problem with that, Muhammad. No.
That's when Avery was like, you don't know Jesus, because the fact that your answer to that was anything remotely like what you just said proves you do not know anything about the real Jesus.
I remember. Oh my goodness, I remember listening to one of God Logic's streams. I think it was his stream yesterday where he was talking to this Muslim. It sounded like a younger guy, so like 15, 20. And he was like, "Yeah, I just want you to turn to Isaiah chapter, it was like 40 or 42 or something like that." And he started going through all these things, and they read a bunch of verses, and he was like, "Yeah, so did Jesus like end all wars, and did Jesus like, you know?" And it was funny because God Logic was like, yeah, so he's gonna actually come back and do that. And it was as soon as he said that, the Muslim was like, "Okay, so what about the Trinity?" Exactly like that. Literally exactly like that. It was really funny too because Avery said, "You believe the same thing."
Yeah, literally. They literally do believe the same thing.
Literally the same belief, yes.
That is funny.
It's pretty incredible. Anyway.
You argued like a Jew for a second there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I closed all my devices. I closed everything, so now it's not, hopefully not as laggy. But anyway, so we're going to be going through the slavery the Taliban just released, as well as some of the slavery in the Islamic sources. Going through the Quran and also going through some statistics. Everybody loves statistics. So,
facts.
I know I do. You know, it warms my heart. You know, butters my biscuit. Looking at statistics all day. Anyway, this is from Rarity, which is a human rights organization that is reporting within the Middle East, but specifically Afghanistan for this. So they were like, "Hey, yo," sounding the alarm. All this evil stuff did. AP did a stream on this yesterday or the day before, and I was like, "Yeah, why not? Let's just talk about slavery in Islam real quick." I didn't make a video on it because it's way worse than I'm going to be talking about today. Because I don't actually have the hadith pulled up, but there's hadith about like Muhammad valuing different races of slaves differently too. So black people, according to him, is like their only worth was as slaves, and he would trade 2 to 3 black slaves for an Arab slave or a white slave. So he had a very low view of black people, and he counted them good to be enslaved. And you have later Islamic tafsir that has that the slaves, like black people themselves, are cursed from Canaan or cursed from Ham because he had intercourse on the ark. So because Ham was, or because he laughed at his father's genitals, because Ham laughed, he was made black, and he was the father of the Sudan, or the Suds, the black people. So you have all the black people cursed by Ham, and what their specific curse is that they will be slaves. So in the Islamic sources, black people are fundamentally slaves. That's their primary purpose, is to be slaves to the Arabs and the white people. But we want to go through the Taliban and their new legal stance. And it's not just slavery, which is part of it. Like it's sort of re-institutionalizing it, because it's been illegal everywhere in the world for 20 years or something like that. But Saudi Arabia outlawed it on 62 because of JFK. Because he met the crown prince, or the king at the time, and the king came and he met with FDR with all of his slaves on a ship, and then he met with JFK with 2 of his slaves. And they're like, "Oh, you don't have slaves?" And like, "No, we don't have slaves. What are you on about?" So then he pressured Saudi Arabia to make it illegal. But up until the living memory, my parents were alive whenever slavery was outlawed in the Islamic world. So pretty crazy, pretty silly. Gonna go through it. Gonna go through it a little bit in the Quran, and then from my memory, we'll talk about the hadiths. But yeah, I didn't have time to pull that up today. Yeah. So Muradi was recently obtained a copy of the Criminal Procedure Code for Courts, signed by the Taliban leader Hatabullah and circulated to the courts at the provincial level across Afghanistan for implementation. The Criminal Procedure Code is issued on January 4th, 2026, has been compiled in 3 sections, 10 chapters, and 119 articles. We have all this available in Arabic. Well, in not Arabic, in
Pashto.
The Pashto, the language of the Afghan people, which is like Iranian kind of. It's kind of like Persian, but it's like a mix between Persian and Arabic. And it uses mostly Arabic letters, which is kind of interesting to look at. I thought it was Arabic when I'm just reading it, but
you can like when I put it into Google Translate, it came up as Pashto, and I thought it was Arabic. And then whenever I put it into DeepL, it came up as Arabic. And so I was like, oh, interesting. So I tried to put it in as Pashto instead, and it still like translated it almost exactly the same.
Right. So. And even the numbering is the same. So like this is how you number things in Arabic. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 there. And it restarts. So you have your 1, 1, your 1, 2. Let's use the same thing. They have numerals like the Jews. But this is all just like that's Jew. That's duck. Anyway. These are it's just normal letters, but they're not actually the same words, and there are some letters that are unique to it. It's pretty nifty, pretty weird. So couldn't get it translated because it's a PDF and it's too large to be just outright translated, and there's no translation of it yet. So ran out of time for both the hadiths and for the translation, so we're just going to go with the English press release from this group, which is a couple pages, and then going through the Quran and going through some of the things that are happening today in the world. So the contents of this document are deeply concerning and stand in clear contradiction to international human rights standards and the fundamental principles of fair trial. The document legalizes and formalizes discrimination against religious minorities and the suppression of individuals' basic freedoms, including violations of human dignity, restrictions on freedom of expression and thought, and arbitrary arrest and punishment. Part of this I really wanted to focus on because I feel like people were over-focusing on the slavery and not focusing enough on them legalizing the genocide of other Muslims, because they did. So, going through that, this document is incompatible with even the most basic standards of fair trial, including the principle of equality before the law, the principle of legality and personal criminal responsibility, the presumption of innocence, the prohibition of torture, because it's part of their law that you can torture, freedom from arbitrary detention, the right to remain silent, and the right to effective defense. So all of these Western values. Interestingly, one of the most faithful Islamic sects in the world goes against all of it. Yet we are still trying to make it work between their culture and our culture. And there's fundamental differences that you can't really go past. In
the words of our wonderful overlord Matt Walsh, some cultures are just worse.
Right. Just is what it is. Yeah. Nowhere in this criminal procedure code are the right of access to a defense lawyer, the right to remain silent, and the right to compensation recognized, nor are the other minimum requirements of a fair trial guaranteed. You just don't have justice in this system, especially if you're a religious minority, which is what I want to get through with the Hanafi stuff. Furthermore, the code has not specified minimum and maximum penalties, and by limiting the process of independent investigation and proving criminal acts, and has instead instituted confession and testimony as the primary means of proving guilt, which is Islamic, that is the standard of Sharia, is confession and testimony. This significantly heightens the risk of torture, abuse, serious abuse, and widespread violations of the rights of the accused. Because if you can get a testimony out of the perpetrator, it doesn't matter if they were tortured. As long as you can get the testimony, it still is a fair trial.
Have you read or listened to Son of Hamas? By Musab Hassan Yusuf? So he details in that book, he details how he went to prison, and it was essentially, well, he went to several prisons, but there was one outside prison that was just, a bunch of different pods, but they were all like, tents and bunks and stuff. And it was a little bit more like inmate run, not insofar as like completely, but like the Jews were a little bit more hands off on it because of some things that the world were saying about them. And so they wanted to kind of vindicate themselves in a way. And there would just be people who would be like the leaders of that pod or whatever, and they would just like coerce confessions out of people by beating them. And they would just be like, yes, I confess to, having relations with my donkey, or with my sister, or like mother, or something like that. And then they would just like whack them. That's all that they did, like, all the time. And so Mossab, oh my gosh, Mossab details this because he was like one of the people that would record their testimonies and their confessions and stuff. And he would just be in there, and he's like, another one that had sex with his sister? Really? And so then they wouldn't, not only would they like kill these people sometimes or beat them severely, but they would spread these rumors about them. They would spread these rumors, and sometimes that was worse because their families were only allowed to visit them like once a month. And so whenever their families would get there, they would be told by other prisoners what they had done, and they wouldn't be able to see him. Or so like they would just not have any contact with their family anymore. They'd be socially outcast.
Yeah, like AO, he got in the bun.
Yeah, exactly. And so they would ostracize people essentially for either for fun or because they thought he was a snitch or something like that.
Right.
But there were plenty of people that were like, Mossab said in his book, he was like, they were just good people that got coerced into a confession that got him, killed.
Yep. And this is what this is what Hamas was doing to Jewish prisoners.
No, themselves.
They were doing to each other.
Oh, this is just what they were doing.
Muslims.
Yeah.
Hamas was doing this to the Muslim prisoners.
Yes.
The Muslim prisoners were doing it to the Muslim prisoners.
Yep. Well, sometimes even them in like
it wasn't the guards.
No, it was the Muslim prisoners doing it to the Muslim prisoners.
For why?
Because you have to understand. You have to understand because these people are sick in the head, Andrew. Not only that, but they also have a very fragile power system because anyone can really like gain power so long as they get really popular. There's not a whole lot of loyalty in Hamas or in Islam really in general. And so they had to solidify their power by just like brutally torturing people all the time, essentially.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, well, if we just read this bit, it'll make a little bit more sense of what's happening. Clause 8 of the Article 2 of the Criminal Procedure Code, the CPC, I'm just going to say, describes followers of the Hanafi school of thought as Muslims. So if you're any of the other schools of thought, you're not a Muslim. Well, what happens if you're not a Muslim? You're a kafir. What can you do to kafir according to the Quran? Strike off the necks. So, whilst characterizing followers of other sects and beliefs that differ or oppose them, the people of the Sunnah al-Jahama, I don't know what the Jahama is, as mutaba or heretics. The discriminated classification in a country where numerous religious minorities, including the Shias, Ismailis, and followers of other Islamic orientations, such as the people of the Aldith, as well as non-Muslims such as Sikhs and Hindus live, directly violates the principle of non-discrimination on the basis of religion and belief. The application of the label of bid'ah or bidat, the plural of bid'ah, so the innovators, and the granting of unlimited powers to the Taliban's judicial institutions creates the conditions for widespread repression, deprivation of legal protection, and the imposition of arbitrary punishment against religious minorities. The last one is basically what's happening within the prison. But if I just call you an innovator, what happens if you're an innovator? If the innovation is so extreme, they can actually call you a kafir, which is what they're doing here. They're calling them a heretic. They're calling them essentially a kafir. What do you do according to the Quran to kafirs? You kill them. So this gives the Taliban the right legally to kill all non-Hanafis in their country.
Okay.
They gave themselves that right.
They gave themselves that right, yes.
Which is great.
Yeah. So like, why would the Muslims do this to themselves? Because they've always been at war with mostly themselves since the beginning. The first generation of Muslims killed each other. There's never been a generation of Muslims that were not killing each other.
It's true.
What do you do with this? So, yeah. Anyway. Moreover, Article 14 of the Criminal Procedure Code has stipulated that in order to serve... That's crazy. Just thinking about that for a moment. Because it was Aisha and I believe Ali that went to war against each other. So if it wasn't Ali, it was one of the other caliphs. But we have... It's like in Christianity, the equivalent of it would be like Peter and John slaughtering each other in the streets. Or like creating factions, or like even like because there's the whole description of the faction of Peter with the postural Judaizers. So if you want to say, oh, it's Peter's faction versus Paul's faction, and then you see them just like slaughtering each other in the streets. That's the equivalent of what have been happening of the first generation of the prophet immediately start killing each other. It's crazy. It kind of happened with some of the heretics later on in early Christianity, but it was not to the extent that the Muslims were doing. And they were mostly just issuing like defenses of why their beliefs were false. That's why the early church fathers wrote so many things on what the heretics were doing.
Yeah, but Santa Claus totally like slapped Arius that one time. So
yeah, but he didn't strike off his neck.
That's true.
Yeah,
but how can you say? How can you say that you're so peaceful when Santa Claus is just a backhanderer, huh?
Mm-hmm.
So when I was in some of the stuff I've been reading about the history of Islam, it talks about how, even on our earliest biographies of Muhammad are coming, 2 centuries after his life.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, that would include the history of who came after him, right? Like we're still kind of the same mentality of we just don't even have that good of record of the events that took place after him. But it's just interesting to me when you had full ability to doctor your, your history. And I don't know, like knowing that in the Quran, it literally says like Muslims shouldn't go to war against each other. And then you still included it in your sources and biographies.
There's a ton of really embarrassing material early on in Islamic history, which is why scholars are like, yeah, it probably happened.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think you mentioned in Ibn Ishaq's for the first biography of
Life
Muhammad.
Like, yeah,
so much of that is so condemning.
It's insane. Yeah, like dude wanted to marry an infant. There's the story of the dude lusting after the pooping women, like all that. Like there's a lot of stuff where it's like that's where it comes from, and it comes from mostly just Ibn Ishaq, which is Ibn Hashem. But even like you get the 10 rabbis stuff. So like even like Muhammad being taught by Jews, the Quran, that's in Ibn Ishaq.
Interesting.
You have so much stuff in there. You have the names of them. You have the names of the 10 Jews that may have taught Muhammad the Quran.
I need to add that to my list of reading material this year. I need to read the life of Muhammad.
Yeah, I need to systematically review. I've mostly just done spot readings because I see so many people quote it. I read pages at a time whenever I see the source, so I get like the context of it. But whenever I do that, I'm always like disgusted by the context.
Right.
But there's so much stuff. You have the dude, he was laughing at one of the guys how he died after he killed him. Because his butt was exposed in the process. He laughed so hard you could see the back of his throat. According to one of the commentators, this is the hardest he ever laughed. Was laughing at a man that was just slaughtered. So,
Muhammad?
Yeah, Muhammad.
Nice.
Yeah. I'll be right back.
Real pious dude.
Mm-hmm.
Totally not God or anything.
Nope. Not
check out the.
Not if you read along with us in the beloved prophet, the uniqueness of Muhammad. Yesterday with us on stream. What a guy. What a guy.
Absolutely, man. Yep. He was gleeful. That's actually how it's described. He was gleeful at his death. Anyway. Or no, it was a woman's death. No, it was a man's death because the man made fun of the woman, if I remember correctly. Either way. Evil dude. Moreover, Article 14 of the CPC has stipulated that in order to sever public interest, the killing of offenders, including individuals who defend false beliefs contrary to Islam or those who invite others to such beliefs, described as heretics and corruptors, is deemed permissible with the permission of the faith. So they are citing Islam as being what gave them permission to kill the corruptors of the land and the heretics or the kafir. So you can kill the people who fall into these categories because of Islam.
Awesome.
Yeah. Oh, but Islam's peaceful, man. Likewise, Clause 2 of Article 17, through a general ruling, has deemed mockery and ridicule of Islamic rulings punishable. If you make fun of Islam or the Prophet, it's punishable and has prescribed a penalty of 2 years imprisonment for perpetrators. It's better than what they used to do. This article introduces no criteria for identifying mockery or ridicule and grants judges broad and arbitrary discretion to punish individuals merely for expressing different views and critical viewpoints.
So that's one thing about this code that is strikingly different from Western law, is that essentially imams, husbands, and slave masters are the only rule of law in the entire country. So those are the ones who issue the actual punishments. And it's awesome and great, and we should totally adopt that here and get rid of our constitutional republic, because if we did that, then we would be able to indiscriminately slaughter minority groups. And I think that's the best
actually part. It's worse than that. So have you heard of Pakistan's revenge raping?
I have not.
So if judges have arbitrary control and power, there is certain groups, certain rural communities within Pakistan where the judges have decided, and it's happened multiple times. It wasn't just one time. It's not a one-off. There's been dozens of reports in modern history since we've started paying attention to it, where when a woman is raped, the brother of the woman can then grape the offender's wife / daughter / sister, like the closest family member that's female that you can. So to punish graping, they grape the other family.
Yay.
Eye for an eye.
An eye for an eye, yes. But the man's not punished. Just his female family member. And sometimes it's done by a group of men, not just one man.
That is so bad. That is so bad.
It is, yes. I think the official government position is that they're not supposed to be doing it. But to my knowledge, none of the judges or the people who practiced it got in trouble. They're just like, cut it out, guys. So if judges have broad and arbitrary discretion, there's a lot of times where the judges in these heavily Islamic radical countries come up with really messed up judgments. I've seen apologists for the revenge graping saying that, oh, that's just the Pakistanis. None of the other Islamic world does it, but it also happened in Iraq and Afghanistan. So anyway.
Yeah. Buddy makes a good point in the comments. That's Muhammad's misunderstanding of an eye for an eye. That's not what an eye for an eye actually is. One of the things that I like to point out to people is that an eye for an eye was not really, in my opinion, meant as a legit, not, it was a legitimate like method, but it was more meant for the person who's going to commit a crime than for the people who are going to punish said crime. Right. It's more as a principle. Like this,
to prevent evil.
Exactly. This is not
evil.
Yeah, not to incite like legitimate violence against like, offenders and stuff like that. It's just to remind people that there is a legitimate consequence,
Right. A Devin Squares here. So yes, Ibn, I don't remember if it's Ibn Abbas. Life of Muhammad Internet Archive. I think it's 114. Page 114. Or it's 134. That's the one where he had intercourse with the baby, 311. Or wanted to. He didn't actually. No, it might be 124. It is in this section where it's actually just quoting the Injil directly. But I'll pull that up. I think I have that pinned in the Islamic Dilemma server.
Oh, you have no idea, buddy. Muhammad looked after a 9-month-old child who was lust.
Yeah, 104. It's a 1 and it's a 4. I never get the middle number right. Okay, so. It's 103 first. So, among the things which has reached me about what Jesus, the son of Mary, stated in the gospel, in the Injil. This is literally Ibn Ashaq, which he hath. I don't think the context is that it's Ibn Hashem or Ibn Abbas, or Ibn Abbas that is narrating it. I think it's just Ibn Ashaq that is saying this. But among the things which have revealed to me about what Jesus, the son of Mary, stated in the Injil, which we received from God for the followers of the gospel, implying a term to describe the apostle of God, is the following. It is extracted from what John the apostle sent down for them when he wrote the gospel for them in the testament of Jesus, son of Mary. So the Injil of John the apostle. And then it quotes John about the Paraclete. And then even the footnotes says, yeah, it's quoting John 15:23. So yeah, it just straight up quotes it. And then the comforter there, they say is Muhammad. So the Muhammademia in Syriac is Muhammad, in Greek it's the Paraclete. So in Ibn Ashaq, he uses the Paraclete as Muhammad. 311 has him wanting to have intercourse with an infant. There's a lot of based things within Ibn Ashaq. Anyway, not sure about Ibn Abbas it's himself, but there's a lot of other places where the Injil is literally called the Injil. I love saying David Zubeda. Who did what with the baby? Muhammad wanted to marry an infant who was crawling. According to Ibn Ishaq. Yeah. But that's just the uncorrupted part, not the holding. Yeah. Anyway. Good times. Article 26 of this document states that followers of the Hanafi school of thought are not permitted to abandon their belief, and should this matter be proven before a judge, they will be sentenced to 2 years imprisonment. This ruling, which constitutes a clear violation of freedom of religion and belief, specifically places Salafis and al-Hadith at risk of arbitrary arrest, trial, and punishment, a danger that, given the Taliban's treatment of those individuals over the past 4 years, is serious and alarming. So if you stop being a Hanafi, you're going to be tortured in prison.
Yes. I'm assuming they put that 2 years thing in imprisonment as like a gesture, to that way they didn't have to say they're going to kill him.
Mm-hmm.
Because they definitely will.
Which, according to them, if you stop being a Hanafi, you're committing corruption in the land, which is wild because they still are Muslim.
Right.
But because they're not the right flavor of Muslim, they're going to be tortured or executed.
Which is funny because hang on. It's, I don't know. Yeah. It gives me such, I love when Muslims will point out the denominations within Christianity, because then you have passages like this in their legal rulings that suggest that they will literally murder, even though they wouldn't consider it murder.
Yeah. This is Muhammad saying that he's going to marry a baby, though. If she grows up and I'm still alive, I will marry her. So, just for the record. But the Islamic legal code, anywhere it's implemented, always leads to suffering. Always.
So, okay, hang on. So, does Salafi mean like literal, and Hanafi? Because I'm unfamiliar with the like Salafis, Hanafi.
True believer.
True believer. Okay.
Well, the Hanaf, or the original sect of Muhammad, if I remember correctly, because he originally didn't call himself a Muslim, he called himself a different name. I believe it was a Hanaf. So I think they took that name from what Muhammad originally was. Rodwell, in his introduction to his translation of the Quran, goes through a lot of the history of Muhammad. He summarizes Ibn Ishaq, and it's really good. So if you just want to read through Rodwell's translation just for the intro, it's worthwhile. But he goes through how obviously Muhammad was a polytheist and then became a monotheist, and then was like a radical extremist. He was like the equivalent of a TERF. And TERF is terrible. The trans exclusionary radical feminist. But I mean, that's kind of what he was. He was the TERF of his day for monotheism. And then came up with Islam from that.
So Hanafi refers to a major Sunni school of Islamic law, while Salafi is a modern movement focused on emulating the pious early generations. So both of them are like terrible.
Yeah, well, there's no good Islamic denomination.
Right, because if you follow the early generations,
you get
a problem,
murder and rape and child marriage and animal intercourse.
If you follow fiqh, we got another problem.
Right.
Because
if you follow the old or the new. Yeah. If not worse in some cases. But JP Mexican says, but I was told that all Muslims are unified, unlike us Christians with our different denominations. Yeah, I know. There's like 7 major ones. I mean, there's 4 main schools, and there's several minor schools. I think there's like 7 or so big popular ones that people follow.
Yeah, and
all of them say the other ones are heretics. So,
I mean, if you look at Islam, right, like there would probably be a lot more denominations if they weren't threatening each other with murder all the time for leaving. But like,
right.
I mean, the same thing was fairly true of the Christian church or of Christendom, because there for a little while there was indeed execution for heretics. Not a great thing that we did there for a while, but that did happen.
That's mostly the Catholic Church, yeah.
Right. We're not gonna, we're not gonna pretend like that didn't happen. But what we are going to say is that relatively quickly ended, and
with
now we have and
kind of. I mean, there was still like bloody war between the different denominations after the Reformation for like 300 years or so.
Not only that, but even in the Reformation, like there were, whether or not John Calvin actually killed that guy is up in the air, but there was a dude that John Calvin may or may not have definitely had executed. So, there's that too. So he's
predetermined to.
Yes, he was.
He could have done nothing else. Okay,
yeah, exactly.
It was. So how can you punish him for it?
But even
sorry.
But like, let's
hear
say
about that in the Discord later.
Let's say that Hanafi and Salafi was a Christian thing, and it was like Hanafi was Christian law, and Salafi was the Christian early church. Like that would be great. You know what I'm saying? Like we would have no problems for the first several hundred years of Christian theology and tradition. There was no killing
war.
We didn't kill each other.
Yeah, it wasn't until we gained institutional power and were corrupted.
Augustine definitely tried to kill some Donatists there for a while. We're not going to talk about
that. By the time that the Christians started killing each other en masse was also the time period in which there's multiple popes that are confirmed to be in hell. Yes. So, the church got really corrupted for a very long time.
The Middle Ages,
split hairs about that. It was not a great time.
The Middle Ages,
Islam going crazy. You had the church not doing great. Yeah,
I'd say it's roughly around. I mean, I know you can find earlier than this, but I think it's in like the 7 to 1200. I was gonna say 7 to 800s, and I mean, the 1200s was definitely at like the height of it. You're getting like pretty messy stuff in there, and to this day the Catholic Church acknowledges that the darkest time in their history is when they were essentially an empire. I mean, they gained way too much power for what they were.
Yep.
It's no longer just a religious institution. This is essentially the New Rome.
Yeah, it was basically what the Muslims were doing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. You had multiple religious empires that were not actually religious. They were just political entities that disguised themselves as religions. But
yeah, especially you saw that in the iconic and aniconic camps.
Yeah,
there was big time
violence,
bloodshed between the two of them. There were emperors who were aniconic, emperors who were iconic. They just beat the. It was not good. It was not good. It was not good at all. So again, we're not going to pretend like that didn't happen, but we're also not going to pretend like Muslims haven't been killing each other since the day that it was founded until today.
I mentioned
even with Muhammad's time, it's still happening.
I think from everything I've been reading so far, I think one of the biggest early Christian is in the Council of Ephesus, when Cyril basically plotted and organized against Nestorius. And this is not me determining whether Nestorius got a bad end of the deal, but it is absolute. If you look into the history of it, Cyril absolutely was doing some like shady stuff in the background to try and get his point across and win a debate that Nestorius he didn't even actually show up for because he knew the deck was stacked against him. But like, because the church was so heavily persecuted for like 300 years, you do not have the same type of history that you have in Islam. Like, Islam did not develop that way. The church was unified to an extent for the first 300 years because they were all unified in terror. they were organizing in secret, and you could not. And whereas Islam became a dominant power during Muhammad's lifetime, so you don't have the same system in place. And then I mentioned yesterday in the book that I was reading about, like that 50, I don't even know, maybe even 30-year stretch where you have like 5 different caliphs. But the way it's being narrated in the book, I think this is over like 100 years. And turns out, this was like 30 years. And they had their caliph at 30 years. They all turned on each other. And like 2 of them, it was also funny. You talked about how like 2 different, I forget which one it was. It may have been Uthman, who was like, he got killed because he was notorious for like shady trade deals. I forget. I have to look it up again. But one of them got executed by some rival group because
there were several that got assassinated.
On a trade deal.
Yeah. No, I haven't gone too deep into how each of the caliphs died, but I think like 3 of the 4 were assassinated, which is pretty funny. When they merged with, oh dang it, I'm forgetting the name of the group that they merged with, but there's also like a child who was given either the caliph position, and they were like, I think that may have been Muhammad's grandson. I'm not sure, but he was like a child, and there was a guardian placed over him. I can't remember his name, but he assassinated the kid to take the throne. And then a week later, he was assassinated. So, if you just need just a fun history lesson on Islam, the differences between the differences between the first 50 years of Christianity versus the first 50 years of Islam. Yeah. Yeah, man, you only got one heresy in the first like 50 years of Christianity, and Paul dealt with it.
Judaizers.
Yeah, well, the Judaizers, and there's also I guess Judaizers were the main group.
They were.
I feel like they're also the ones like the
well, there was
Jesus is not
the
fully
Nicolaitans.
God, fully human.
There was the Nicolaitans in Revelation that the Lord Jesus talks about cropping up.
Right. Yeah. You get a couple, but it's not nearly as many different groups that are splintering off within early Islam. It's just, and there's no outright murdering of each other. The Ebionites are just like dissociating. No. Okay, I didn't think
they
come about later.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah. Then you've also got like the Gnostics, but whichever flavor of Gnosticism you want to.
Yeah, but that's not. I mean, it is a heresy, but it's kind of its own religion.
It is. Yeah, it's not technically. It's not technically Christian in any way, except for what they stole. But anyways,
I think the Ebionites are after the Bible was being done written. It was like after 70 AD.
I think the Ebionites may have existed, but I think they had major adopted like practices from Christianity. I think they stole, which is it's the same thing as Gnosticism. Gnosticism existed before Christianity in the sense of like, I think it was like Greek thought of like Greek mysticism.
Yeah,
and they hated the physical.
Yeah, and then it developed where they then tried to take Christian concepts and merge them with it because Christianity was becoming so popular. Or well, it was spreading quickly. Popular may not be the right word.
What do you mean taken aback?
Like he would so like probably confessions, I imagine. Or confessions, he does some little messed up stuff in confessions.
Yeah.
So he's like, like clutching his pearls, reading confessions, and now he just reads Islamic stuff, and it's like, yeah, it's just like run of the mill. Yeah. No, it's messed up.
What's funny is that early Augustine contradicts later Augustine. So
he does, yes. Anyway.
The duality of man.
The duality of Augustine. Clause 11 of the Article 2. You make a joke?
No, I was gonna make a joke. I was just going to say that he definitely did kill people, though. Unfortunately.
Also hated the Jews.
But... Yes. Well, okay. To be fair, there were quite a few
pretty common
church fathers who hated the Jews.
That's not an excuse, man.
No,
if everyone's racist, they're all still racist.
What I'm saying is that I didn't realize how anti-Semitic
the early church
fathers were.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there was a lot of hostility because of how much. I mean, I'm not saying this is like a to be fair against the Jews of that time, but because they were so involved in the persecution of the early church, there was a lot of tension and hostility, like in the developing years. And then once Christians got power, from everything I've been reading so far, once Christianity became not just the legal religion of Rome, but like the religion of Rome, they kind of took the opportunity to get some payback on the Jews for snitching on them for 300 years. And I'm not saying anybody was right. Like, I'm just telling you what happened, right? That's just the history. We have to acknowledge it.
Yep. Everyone was terrible.
Also,
everybody was terrible.
Whenever you say God forbid a brother learn and change his mind, unfortunately Augustine got worse. So he started out good,
true,
and then he got worse. So he learned Gnosticism. He learned Stoic thought and then translated that into Christianity. Unfortunately,
some bad things he introduced into the church.
I love my Manichaean Reformed brothers. All right, I love them. You know,
that's neither here nor there for the them getting worse.
I mean,
anyway, we don't need to go down the rabbit hole.
We won't go down that.
Bashing on Augustine.
That's its own stream. Christian history is its own stream.
Yeah. Anyway, Clause 11 of Article 2, by defining a Baqi or a rebel as someone who strives to spread corruption. So again, why is everything in Islam about corruption? I wonder if it's because the Quran says you can kill corruptors.
Mm-hmm. Anyway. It's a very weird and generalized term, too.
Yep, it has no meaning except whatever you want it to be. States that their harm is public and they cannot be reformed without being put to death. So, if you're a rebel, you are going to be put to death. This ruling grants the Taliban's judicial institutions and other branches of the Taliban government broad and dangerous authority to kill opponents, critics, and human rights activists under this designation without guaranteeing the right to defense and fair trial.
Wait,
furthermore, the clause...
They gave themselves the right to kill human rights activists?
Yes.
Oh. Didn't see that part.
That's been an Islamic standard for centuries, though.
Well, I mean, anyone who opposes the caliph or the, whatever.
Right, you'd be put to death.
Die. But I didn't realize that they were explicit like that.
Right. No. Yeah. They have been for most of Islamic history, too, of if you criticize Muhammad, Allah, the Quran, or the government, you are being put to death. There's the story of the boy who was a barista, and he was like a teenager, and there's a long line, and he said, if Muhammad himself was here, I couldn't go any faster. And 2 honor police came, drug him out, and then executed him in town square for saying that. Like, that's the level of, I don't remember what time this was. It was several years ago. But like,
in what
that's
place?
The level. I want to say Afghanistan.
Let me look this up.
It might be Saudi Arabia. But people who do that type of stuff of just like doing snide comments of Muhammad or Allah or the Quran could get you killed.
The boy killed for an offhand remark about Muhammad. Syria.
That makes sense.
The murder of a boy accused of blasphemy has come to symbolize concerns about the power of... Yeah, I mean, hey, it's definitely concerning. After the murder on June 10th. Yeah, but what year was this? 2013, so about 12 years ago.
2013. It was a while ago.
One of them... Oh, okay. So it was overheard by 3 armed men. Oh, wait. All right, here we go. One day last month, someone asked him for a free cup. Not even if the Prophet himself returns, he had replied, laughing. That remark was a death sentence.
Yep.
He was 14.
Yep. And a teenager,
okay, so he said,
little boy, killed.
He told a buddy, I wouldn't even give you a free cup of coffee if the Prophet himself returned.
Yeah. So I was misremembering what he
murdered
said,
him.
Yes, that was
They
enough
dragged
to get
him to
murdered.
a car and took him away. Half an hour later, a badly beaten Muhammad was dumped back in the road by his cart. The men, showing no fear that anyone would question what they were doing, summoned a crowd with shouts of, "O people of Aleppo, O people of Shar." Recalling what happened next, she buries her face. One of them shouted, "Whoever insults the Prophet will be killed according to Sharia." I ran down barefoot to the streets, fell to the ground. One of them shot him again, shot him for a third time, and stomped on him.
Yep. That happened whenever I was in high school.
I said, "Why are you killing him? He is still a child." The man shouted, "He is not a Muslim. Leave."
That's within most of our lifetimes watching this stream. I mean, if you were like, if you're 12,
you're not 12,
then you were, yeah. This was within your lifetime. A kid, a child, 14-year-old who makes snide remarks because they're children, was killed for that.
Yeah, blasphemy against a man.
Yes.
So stupid.
Muhammad can be blasphemed against.
It's not a thing.
But he's not God. But he can be blasphemed against. And he can be blasphemed against in a way where if you do a stick figure and say that that's Muhammad, you can be put to death.
All right. Hey, I would just like to say that I think Muhammad is dumb. So.
Well, yes. Chase, it was nice knowing you.
Yeah. Yeah. No, like.
Come on out. Come on.
There are so many. Yeah, we are absolutely lucky to be born on this side of the world. There are so many stories worse than that, and that's the sad part. That's kind of tame.
Right. Yeah, for sure. And
yeah.
I don't know.
They worship Muhammad.
Claim that the killers were from the main group linked to Al Qaeda.
Yeah. Yeah, but it was done in a crowd in public. No one stopped him.
Nope. Well, when you have guns.
They all have guns. They could have gotten the honor police involved. They didn't. Anyway. Yeah, Islam. So you can just kill your opponents. You can kill your critics. You can kill anyone who makes a snide remark. Furthermore, Clause 6 of Article 4 states that every Muslim, whenever they witness sinners committing a sin, is permitted to proceed with their punishment, a matter which grants even ordinary individuals, morality, police officers, and clerics, aligned with the Taliban, the authority to punish others. These provisions seriously violate the right to liberty and personal security, human dignity, the prohibition of arbitrary detention and punishment, and the right of access to a fair trial.
That would be like us giving the police the ability to punish people.
Mm-hmm.
That's not their job.
Yep.
Their job is to detain and or prevent criminals from doing acts.
Right, but what this does is it legalizes honor killings, that the father can kill their children.
Well, right, but at the same time, it's like instead of getting a fair trial, like it said earlier, you can just get punished. by whoever's there.
Mm-hmm.
Morality police and clerics.
Yeah. Imagine instead of like the citizen's arrest, instead of a citizen's arrest, you have a citizen's judge, jury, and execution. The citizens of the place are allowed to make judgment calls on whether or not what you have done or said is worthy of public execution.
And mind you, the sin that you witness, it's up to the individual who witnesses it how they interpret it to punish it, and they can punish them immediately without contacting anyone. And we actually see this in Muhammad's lifetime. There is a man of the Sahaba who killed his wife. Muhammad asked him, "Hey, why did you kill your wife?" And then he said, "She made fun of you." And then Muhammad said, "Okay."
Understandable. Have a good day.
Muhammad's like, good man. Good man.
Yeah.
It's my ride or die.
Seriously. Yeah.
Literally.
But
I'll be seeing you in the tent later.
Yeah. No, I've been fully desensitized at this point, man. I've gone through the sources. I don't think there's anything in Islam that I have not already seen or heard about. Because I also, whenever I was a kid, I used to watch a lot of the live leak stuff. So I've seen like literally,
oh my gosh,
hundreds of
live
people
leak is crazy.
Be dismembered, beheaded, blown up, shot, raped. Like I've seen it a lot. Before I was a Christian.
You were one of those kids.
Yeah, I was one of those kids. So I've seen what Muslims do, and I've seen also the military's response to what Muslims do.
It's pretty crazy.
A lot of people died.
There's a bunch of different websites now that you can watch stuff like that on. And I remember my uncle showing us this one website that was just like drone strikes and area like it's like awesome. I was shown a video at work by one of my coworkers. This Muslim, I don't know, it was a Middle Eastern man. I don't know if he was a Muslim or not, but he had a rocket launcher, and instead of the rocket flying out, he didn't hold it properly, and it like both of them shot off of him at the same time, and like it blowed it up. Yeah,
there's not a person left after that.
No.
You know what she said? No, I don't think the source actually says how she criticized him.
Probably because she didn't.
Yeah, I was the kind of kid who was shown those things without choice. I didn't get to make a choice on whether or not I got to see them.
Yeah, but now it's become like so mainstream and popular that people like. There's like gore sites that also have porn on it, so you could like masturbate to gore. Yeah, that's how like that's the state of depravity that we're in this world at the moment. Yeah. And it seems to just be getting worse over time, not better. Which is, part of the prophecy of the end times. Anyway,
it's partially expected. Partially expected that things are just going to keep getting worse. But
it's just sad that's. I mean, I love the time period that we're living in because of the technology. I would not trade it for anything. It's just sad that it also comes with the straight level of depravity that we're going to be seeing. But I would still go through the depravity and the persecution and have indoor plumbing than any of the other times in history, because that's still way better.
I'd rather not be killed for being an Anabaptist as well, So.
Right.
Or I'm not an Anabaptist. I'm not an Anabaptist.
A fly landed on my food. I die from it. Yeah. Yeah. You guys are gonna make me puke. Oh, dude, it is. Nah, I'm not gonna go through. I've seen some stuff. On the other hand, Clause 14 of Article 2 states that in crimes of Hudud and Dayat, blood money is that last one, intention is paid only to the crime itself and not to the personality of the perpetrator. Whilst this approach is incompatible with the requirements of a fair trial, since under criminal law standards, assessing criminal responsibility requires considering the mental state, capacity, and intent of the perpetrator, disregarding these factors result in violation of due process guarantees and free trial principles.
You don't say.
It does. Yeah. I believe there's also differences. If you are a rich man, there's less punishment, or they don't try you. And if you're a poor man, there's a greater punishment. I think that's somewhere in this. But yeah, Article 59 of this document, by criminalizing dancing and watching it without providing any clear, precise, and legal definition of this concept, disregards the fundamental principles of legality of crime and punishment and the prescription of innocence, and thereby grants judicial authorities discretion to arbitrarily deprive individuals of their liberty and personal security. In such circumstances, individuals may be detained and punished for performing local dances that are considered part of their tradition and way of life.
And it's
because
not
they
really
have traditional dances.
They do, and from my understanding, like there are some Muslims that have like that kind of stuff too, like do traditional dances.
Right. Man. The first time I saw something of nudity, I was like 5. The first time I saw death, I was like 7. So definitely isn't too wild. I got so messed up as a kid, but
like death happened or a dead person.
Watching snuff film.
Oh.
But also a funeral. So I guess around the same time, like literally watching someone die and then also looking at dead body. But yeah. Internet, terrible place. Allows us to learn about God and spread his message and know one another. Like obviously I've met you guys. I have no reason to have met you guys in my life. You live hundreds of miles away from me. But here we are. So the internet's like full of all these potential and wonderful and beauty and all that, and it's like the worst of humanity.
Yeah.
It's the dichotomy of the internet. But yeah. Not like Islam. Islam is just bad. Similarly, Article 13 of the Code, through a vague reference and without providing any necessary explanation, calls for the destruction of places of moral corruption. This provision violates the principles of legality and personal crime responsibility, as well as the presumption of innocence given the broad and undermined interpretation of corruption. This ruling can be extended to the destruction of places such as barbershops and beauty salons and can be punished their owners without providing personal responsibility.
Dude.
This actually happened to my editor. His dad is a barber, and his barbershop got shot up while they were in Syria.
What?
Yeah, they're Christian.
Oh, you're talking about bro. Yeah. Interesting. Oh,
that is insane.
There?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, no, bro lived through 3 civil wars, 3 Muslim wars.
No, not in Syria. I'm talking about, was his barbershop in Syria?
I think he had one in each of the countries, but
okay.
Yeah. Anyway.
I thought you meant the one in
the
other one.
No. The only good thing about Islam are the jokes that come out of it. You don't want to poop in the desert with 3 stones. Right. Yeah, places of moral corruption are not Quran schools, even though they corrupt the boys there. Yeah, what they do to the boys there is wild. I mentioned this in the stream yesterday, but there's the phrase of girls are for breeding, boys are for pleasure, or boys are for fun. Yeah.
Pretty sure Katy Perry wrote a song like that, right?
No.
That's crazy. That's just crazy.
At the same time, according to Article 40, any person who is present at a gathering of corruption, even involuntarily, if you were dragged there, without the meaning of corruption being clarified, is considered complicit in the act of corruption and deemed punishable. This provision also conflicts with the principle of personal crime responsibility and the principle of innocence, and yada. We know the problems with it. You don't got to keep telling us the problems with it. If you're just around people causing corruption, or Christians praying in the street, you can be killed. So, fun stuff. Whilst human dignity and the equality of all human beings, non-discrimination, and the absolute prohibition of slavery are amongst the fundamental principles of human rights and among the preemptory norms of international law, Article 9, which is the one that people have been bringing up.
Yeah.
Article 9 of the CPC of courts effectively divides society into 4 categories: scholars, the elite, the middle class, and the lower class. Interestingly, the caste system has pretty similar breakdowns, or at least the Greek version of it does. Pretty sure the caste system does too. Like you have the Brahmins at the top, you have the the tradesmen in the second top. You have the like lower middle class, then you have the untouchables, if I remember correctly. So it's just interesting that has similar breakdown of that. Oh no, it's the warriors and kings above the merchants. Then you have the commoners, and then you have the untouchables. So they have 5 versus 4, but it's still pretty much the same breakdown of academics are at the top, and then your like wealthy guys, and then the common folk, and then the bads. So they are, kind of like echoing the caste system, which is interesting. According to this article, in the event of the committing the same crime, the type and severity of punishment is determined not on the basis of the nature of the crime committed, but rather on the basis of the perpetrator's social standing. For example, if a crime is committed by a religious scholar, it warrants merely an advice. And if it is committed by someone from the elite, it results in a summons to the court and advice. However, if the same crime is committed by individuals belonging to the middle class, they are imprisoned. And if by individuals from the lower class of society, in addition to imprisonment, they are also sentenced to corporal punishment. This really not only recognizes the discriminatory concepts of social stratification, but also directly violates the principle of equality before the law. Yeah. Moreover, the code has legitimized slavery by mentioning the word slave in several sections, as stated in Article 15. In the case of any crime for which a had has not been specified, a tazir is ruled whether the criminal is free or a slave. Likewise, paragraph 5 of Article 4 states that the execution of the had punishment can be carried out by the imam, and the execution of tazir punishment can be carried out by the husband and the master, the badar. So, this basically means that slavery is now enshrined within the law, that the master and slave now have legal status where you can just own them.
Wow.
Yeah. The description of individuals as free and enslaved in the explicit mention of the word slave is this criminal procedure code constitutes the recognition of an absolutely prohibited legal status that stands in clear contradiction to the principles of equality, human dignity, and fundamental standards of human rights. Slavery is absolutely and in all circumstances prohibited in international law and is considered part of the peremptory norms of international law. Actually, it's a weird word. Peremptory. Learning all sorts of laws or words, reading Islamic stuff lately.
Yeah. What was that one we learned yesterday?
The perspicacious.
No. Proscribed.
Oh, proscribed instead of priest. Like proscribed to forbid something. Yeah. We learn all sorts of language.
Yes, in fact, it does mostly mean sex slavery, unfortunately.
Bachi boys. Yeah.
Because so if you continue
cosmically gay.
if you continue reading, essentially the imam is at the top. And then of the judicial system, there's people who are higher than the imam, but in this judicial system, it's the imam and then the husband.
Right.
And so it's not just like sex slavery, but also like familial slavery, because you literally like they don't have any say at all. Women don't.
Right.
In any case.
Yeah. Although I think concubinage has been legal. I don't know how you would do that in Afghanistan law. I think this has been legal for a while. Yeah. So a concubine in Islam is a sex slave, which is not the same in every other society. Every other society is just a woman who is in a relationship with a man who does not have the same legal status as the wife. It's not a sex slave. In Islam, it's literally a sex slave. I was having this debate with a Muslim who was talking about like, oh, the Torah permits sex slavery. I'm like, what are you on about? He's like, oh, it talks about the concubines. I'm like, so? That's just a wife that doesn't have the legal inheritance rights of an actual wife. That's not a sex slave. But in Islam, it literally is. So that type of slavery has always been permitted.
And it's different because, correct me if I'm wrong, you don't actually have to marry your sex slaves.
Right. Well, you don't marry your sex slaves.
Right.
Otherwise, they would not be your sex slaves. They'd be your wife.
Exactly. So, like, that's a little different.
Right. Yeah. So, they also have increased corporal punishment. In Article 18, or the articles, the punishment of flogging has been prescribed very extensively and without clear limitations. So in Islam and the Quran, the punishment of adultery, I think, is either 50 or 100 lashes. And then it's half that for a bondwoman if she commits adultery. This is like, hey, if you don't even have the 50 lashes, then you can just keep hitting them. This punishment constitutes corporal punishment and degrading treatment which conflicts with the principle of human dignity and the absolute prohibition of torture and cruel punishment. You mean flogging someone to death isn't humane?
I would probably not. Couldn't.
Right.
No.
That was a very funny freeze frame of your face, Chase. I'm so sorry.
It was.
You're like, anyways.
Yeah. Article 19 states that if a person performs a permissible act that has been prohibited by the Taliban leader or criticizes and objects to permissible matters, they are deemed criminal and deserving of punishment. The primary concern is the generality of this provision, which provides the de facto authorities with unlimited powers. In the Taliban's perspective, the prohibition of women's education is also part of permissible matters. There was a video that came out of the Talibani militia, or military, if you want to call them a military, that were dancing around in a school building that was closed, a woman's school that was closed. They were dancing around in the middle of it singing, both of which is haram and
I was gonna say
punishable by death earlier on. Yeah, but they did it, so it's fine. It's really dumb. Taliban dancing in a girls' school. I'm gonna bring up the clip real quick. This one. So they're literally just like going around dancing in an empty classroom. It's like, and they're all like smiling. Like the quality is terrible on this one, but they're all like smiling and dancing and so happy that a girls' school is closed.
At least they have okay trigger discipline.
I hate no cinnamon here. I hate that I don't ever think the way that the videos are, like, in my mind I'm like, they're just some dudes hanging out, they're just dancing in school. No, it's because they're the subjugation of women in Islam and
girls specifically.
They can't learn.
Mm-hmm. Yep, they're so happy that their girls are uneducated and are just basically sexual objects.
Yay, we have dude.
Oh, this is the guy I was arguing about.
First one.
Yeah, concubines and sex slave are all in Bible.
Maloney.
Yeah, no. Concubines and sex slavery. Concubine, first off, is not a sex slave, and sex slavery is not in the Bible. If you have intercourse with a slave, she's automatically a free woman, as I mentioned in that comment thread that you didn't learn from. So, yes. Anyway.
Also,
no,
we're reading a set of laws right now. We're talking about the laws of Afghanistan. We're not even reading straight out the Quran right now. So you're trying to compare the Bible supposedly to a law system, meaning you have no idea what we're even talking about. You just came in here and started throwing accusations.
Well, I did just mention that, so I think he's responding to me.
Oh, okay. Well,
I said it like 8 minutes ago, but I mean, it's close enough in memory. He might just not have been, might not be alive right now. But yeah, that's not true, my guy. I did a stream on the law. If you check out my first stream, I'm pretty sure I went through that exact passage in Exodus 21, which talks about how a woman goes free if you have intercourse with her, and you have to wait a month to even marry her. And if you don't wait the month, you're punished, and then you still have to marry her, and you can't divorce her. So if you just want to do like a one night stand with a slave or someone that you like got from like a servant girl, she is now legally your responsibility for her entire life. You have to financially, it's like an alimony payment. She can deny you sex and you still have to pay her the rest of her life. So she's automatically a free woman. She gains protections. You can no longer have intercourse with her unless she lets you, and you have to pay her forever and pay a dowry. It is not sex slavery. It just isn't. Yeah. Anyway,
also,
learn the law.
We don't have any problem with like capital punishment prescribed in the Old Testament. It was a different time that the Lord decided to use that legal system with them. One of the reasons he did that was because he was literally with them, So like if you were to let's say that the Lord Jesus was next to me, right? And he followed me around everywhere I went, and I blasphemed his name, right? I'm pretty serious because he's like right next to me, and like I know he's next to me, and so it's like, okay, well, all right, well, we got to do something about that. And not only that, but like the adultery and apostasy thing again. That's what the Lord prescribed during that time. You guys are killing each other.
Right. Freeze framed for so long with that post. It's great. Anyway.
Obviously, they're following the Bible. Good. Yep.
Yep.
Cope.
Yeah. So, clause 2 of Article 23 says that those who insult the Taliban leaders will be sentenced to 20 lashes and 6 months imprisonment. As an article, in addition to granting broad and unlimited powers to Taliban judges to suppress dissenting and critical views, also leads to further violation of the right of freedom of expression. Yeah, then it goes through why that's a problem. According to Article 24 of this Criminal Procedure Code, if a person witnesses or has knowledge of subversive meetings and activities of opponents of the regime, but does not take action against them himself or herself, or does not inform the relevant Taliban departments, he or she is criminal, and the judge may sentence the witness and the informed person to 2 years imprisonment. So again, it's giving you like carte blanche honor killing, or like citizens arrest, but like citizens violence, or like citizens judge, jury, executioner type powers. Or if you're not going to do it, you have to get the honor police, like whoever involved, to do it. But you have this like onus on you in these communities to punish sin, both like berating them, beating them, but also killing them in some cases, which is why honor killings are a thing in deeply Islamic countries. They have honor killings, such as like Pakistan and Afghanistan and Iraq and Iran. Well, hopefully not anymore, God willing, in Saudi Arabia. But
so his last comment, he says, what does the Quran have to do with Afghanistan? If you read the legal code, the like 57-page legal code that they put out, at the bottom there's like lists of citations of the Quran and Hadith that like justify what they're doing, that they use. And not only that, but they also use jurisprudence to do that. So like they'll cite different fiqhs that have been passed out. So that's kind of why we're picking this apart.
Yeah, and we'll go through Saudi is crazy though. Bobby. Yeah, I mean, we'll go through some of the statistics on slavery, and Saudi Arabia is quite special when it comes to slavery. So Article 30 of this document only prohibits certain forms of physical violence against children by teachers, specifically cases that can result in bone fractures, torn skin, or bodily bruising. It does not explicitly prohibit other forms of physical violence, psychological violence, and sexual violence. Last one is very important, but all the other ones are important too. Teachers can beat you, abuse you, yell at you, maybe even grape you, any age of child in their school. So the CPC, the courts, also insist on prohibiting violence against children, indirectly legitimizes the perpetration of other forms of abuse, maltreatment, and punishment of children. This is an approach that contradicts the principle of special protection for children and their human dignity. Article 48 states that further, that a father may punish his 10-year-old son when the child is acting out against his own interest, such as abandoning matters for the prayer. This is actually within, I believe, the Hadith. But it's definitely in Sharia. Like most of the schools of Sharia have this view of once a boy turns 10, the father can then start to beat them if they do not do their daily prayers. So it's the father's responsibility once the boy turns 10 to ensure that it happens every single day.
It's just strong parenting, like
how, right?
Yeah, dude.
How do you instill in your kids a good prayer ethic if you can't beat them into it?
Absolutely. Andrew's right, Chris, and I'm sick of your Islamophobia here, right? Because I couldn't tell you. You know what? When I see my dad, I say, "Papa, I thank you every day for the times when you." Yeah.
It was like I wasn't ready for this. Papa, I was.
We were just talking about you, actually.
Me?
Yeah. Oh no, variation.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't say that, Papa. My bad. I thought you were talking about your actual father, Chase. I was like,
no.
No. I mentioned Garo like every other stream, but he doesn't watch them.
True.
No, he's fun. Love you, brother. Go sleep. Anyway. What accusations? You're finished, boy. Regarding violence against women, the code has also adopted a discriminatory approach, and position Article 32 states that if only the husband beats the woman with a stick, maybe a miswhack, but also literally maybe a stick. I don't know. I didn't look at the actual language to know if it's specifically a stick or a miswhack. And this act results in severe injury. A miswhack can't result in severe injury, so it's probably literally a stick, such as a wound or body bruising, and the women can prove it before a judge. Will the husband be sentenced to 15 days imprisonment? The problem here is the woman has to prove it before a judge. Do you think a woman in this regime will be able to prove this to a judge?
Nope. Especially when half the time her husband is the judge. Also, I love that they get 15 days. That's my favorite part. 2 weeks.
Right. Yeah. We're not criticizing the Bible because the Bible doesn't permit what Islam permits. Yeah.
So even if a woman brought like clear evidence to a judge, like would there actually be any justice?
4 witnesses, Andrew.
You need 4 witnesses.
Well, I'm saying even if all necessities were met,
justice.
Do you think you would actually a woman would actually receive proper justice, or do you think they would just find another way to get out of it?
Not proper justice.
It depends also on the offense.
Within their parameter of proper, yeah.
Are you talking about just women being beaten by their husbands, or like women being raped by strangers? Because the latter, no. The former, maybe.
At this point, I don't even.
Yeah, so if you can somehow manage to scrounge up 4 dudes who are willing to testify for you as a lady, which is really
be interviewed,
which is really difficult, because if you get any less than 4, then I think they're allowed to say that you were lying, and then punish you.
Punished heavier.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Which that's also part of the reason why they don't have women testify much about being raped, because if they come forward and their punishment for that is basically death or being lashed 100 times.
Yeah, there's that's kind of what I've just been gathering is there's no actual reason within the system they've created for a woman to even try to, talk.
Right.
Like they've effectively created a system, obviously with the 4 witnesses. If there were 4 witnesses to your assault, they're probably involved, right? So that's obvious. Like you're not going to get that. But at the same time, if there could even be another following punishment on top of there's no actual reason for. It's just so ridiculous. I don't know how any woman with they don't have any woman who actually looks into the Quran and looks into all the things within these Muslim countries. I just don't even understand how you can stay a Muslim and be a woman. I don't.
I don't get it either. I mean, some of it is fear. Like a lot of it is
of course, a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're in a situation where you're not having to worry about fear.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, speaking of the Al-Zuts, I can demonstrate the newest emote real quick. For the Zoo Awareness Day, which is tomorrow.
Yeah, it's tomorrow. I'm excited.
Yeah.
2 hours.
Yeah. So let me go ahead and open that up. This is the newest edition. Can I open up in here? Yeah. So this is the newest addition to the emotes for the stream. This is going to be celebrating the Men of Al-Zut tomorrow. Zoo Awareness Day, everyone. It was a great and mighty deed that Muhammad did in the desert, preaching dawah to the Men of Al-Zut while they rode him. So we want everyone to be aware of Muhammad and his encounter with the Men of Al-Zut, preaching to them. Yeah. So this is them owning and selling black. It looks like called a Hego. Oh no,
maybe not.
Yeah. It'll be very small whenever it's in the chat, so it's not going to look that crazy. But that's the amount. Anyway, here's a slave auction house in the 1300s from Muslims selling black African slaves. We also get in the Quran because he said to judge the book, don't judge the people. Here, let's judge the book real quick. So now when you meet the unbelievers, strike the necks until when you have subdued them, then make fast the bonds, and afterwards either generosity or ransom until the war lays down its burdens. That, and if Allah willed, he could have punished them, but so that he may test some of you by means of others, and those who have been killed in the way of Allah, he does not make their actions useless, but he gives them gardens and gives them houris and whatnot. The note here is important. The literal understanding of this verse is paramount among Islamic commentators. Ibn Kathir says that it means that when Muslims fight against unbelievers, the kafir, they should cut them down totally with your swords until you have killed and utterly destroyed them. Tafsir al-Jalalain concurs, explaining strike the necks as meaning kill them. Striking people's necks generally result in their death. The 20th century Quran translator Yusuf Ali, despite his general tendency to minimize aspects of the Quran that are jarring to Western non-Muslims, likewise takes the injunction literally, justifying it by saying you cannot wage war with kid gloves. So, yeah. Kill them and enslave them.
Yay. Make fast the bonds. What does and afterward either generosity or ransom mean?
You can let them go free, or you can make them pay for their own freedom.
Oh.
So you can keep them as a slave, you can let them go free, and if you do, according to the Quran, according to 960, which is fair, it is fair, 960 does give a blessing for letting go a slave, but it still insists that there is slavery there, because otherwise, why would you have a blessing for letting go of them? But The alms are only for the poor and the needy and those who collect them and those whose hearts are to be reconciled, and to free the captives and the debtors, and for the sake of Allah and the wayfarer, a duty imposed by Allah. Allah is the knower and the wise one. If you free the captives, you can actually gain a reward from Allah. If you capture a captive or if you have sex with a captive, that's not an issue. It doesn't subtract from it. This is just another way you could be pious, is by freeing a slave. So you have that. But also he commands you to kill and enslave the kafir in the book.
Yeah, you know what's funny is that the actual God actually thought about freeing slaves like way before, Muhammad came around too. So that was a pretty cool thing that he did. It's almost like every 49 years, everything kind of went back to, where it was supposed to be.
Tommy Wu-Tang taught me that. The Wu-Tang clan,
Yeah.
What? You best protect your neck.
Oh. You best protect your neck. Yeah. So you have
also I fully think Hassan is a troll. I genuinely don't think he knows what he's talking about, at all.
Fabricated hadith.
Yeah, it's not a fabricated hadith.
Isn't it from
even Da'if hadith?
Bukhari?
It's Ibn Masud, and it's not from Bukhari.
No, it's from Dawood, I think, isn't it? Abu Dawood.
I think it's Ibn Majah. There's a version here from Masad Ahmed. Musnad Ahmad.
Oh, is it Musnad Ahmed?
Yep. And then there's another one as well. From a different source.
Yeah, it's Jamiat Tirmidhi. Hang on.
That's one of them, I think.
Yeah.
We have a lot of sources. We have a lot of sources for the Menvals. It's not just one hadith. It's many hadith.
Is Da'if.
So we have 3.
Where's the one that's not?
I did not know that. I did not know that there were several.
4.
Oh yeah.
5. 5 different things for the Menville Zut riding Muhammad. It's not just one. There's several. It's a good mix. An authentic hadith collections narrated by Ibn Masud, who says that he was there personally. Anyway. So you are to guard yourself. You guard your private parts from everyone except their wives or those who the right hands possess, for them are not the blameworthy. This, according to the Quran, Surah 23, 6, Ayah 6, allows you to have intercourse with a became YouTube member. Welcome, brother. You can do your spicy frog in. Oh yeah, he's doing the Brocs and the spicy frogs. I don't actually have YouTube open, so I can't see all the emojis. It's very sad. Probably open it. According to the Quran, you can have intercourse with your slave woman, and it never says it has to be consensual at all. So, what do you do with that? You also have 24. Literally an extra 33. Just a similar story. And let those who cannot find a match keep chaste until Allah gives them independence by his favor. And among those your slaves, seek a writing, write for them if you are aware of anything good in them, and bestow it upon them from the wealth of Allah, which has he bestowed upon you. Do not force your slave girls to become prostitutes, so that you may seek enjoyment of the life of this world, if they wish to preserve their chastity. And if one forces them, then they are forced. Indeed, Allah will be forgiving and merciful. So don't force your slaves into prostitution, but if you do, I'm going to forgive you. But notice, this is only if the woman doesn't want to do it. If the woman is benign or is silent, because silence is consent in Islam, then you can force her to do it, and it's not actually bad. So in a way, this is legalizing prostitution, pimping out of your sex slaves. And then it also forgives you if it's forced. Not only does this allow you to have sex slaves, but you can prostitute them. Good time.
Pimpin'.
Yep. So for 424, 434 is beat your wife.
Did you see McCain's?
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. Yeah. Just transfer all the money to variation. How do you gift memberships? I got a feeling Sebastian will get lucky tonight. Sebastian hasn't. He's here. Hello, brother. You gift memberships. I think in the super chat, like, show your defense membership gifting. If you do the money icon, it's at the very bottom. Membership gifting. I can gift my own members. That's pretty funny. That's literally just losing money because of the tax that YouTube takes. So, starting a poll, why not? Is Islam good for women? Yes, no. That's what people think. Yeah. Don't sign up for Chris's crypto scam. Yeah, I'm gonna do a rug poll. Don't worry about it. Anyway. It only pops up super stickers and super chats. Weird. And all the married women, except those whom your right hand possess. It is a decree of Allah for you. Lawful to you are all those beyond those mentioned, that you may seek them with your wealth and honest wedlock and not debauchery. So you should marry them, except, your slaves. You can just do the slaves. And there is a hadith that mentions that even if the women are married, you can have intercourse with the women in front of their husbands. Great stuff. Great stuff. 425 is also related. I didn't read that. And whoever isn't... Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that our friend here, who seems to be very very unpleasant towards the West, is I can go get mom and dad right now if I wanted to, but yeah, I would much rather be in the
Western
West.
Yeah,
I don't know which variation of that.
Is the grass green for women treated well in Islam? Oh, that's funny.
So yeah.
Is Islam good for women? 92% said no. 1% voted yes. And
that was the Dajjal.
Yeah, that was the Dajjal. The Dajjal voted for it.
Whoever could that have been?
Right.
Actually, joke's on us. It was Tommy.
True.
Tom.
And couldn't do it. Yeah. So, and whoever is not able to afford the marriage fee, believing women, let them marry from the believing women whom your right hand possesses. So you can marry the slave women. You are free from one another, so marry them by permission of their people or their masters, literally what this says. And give them their shares in kindness, that they being honest, not debauchered or elusive conduct. And if they are honorably married, they commit lewdness, they will incur half of the punishment of free women. This is what I was mentioning earlier. If you are a slave and you commit adultery, you will be beaten with half as many lashes. But this is the idea here is slaves are still equal before Allah, because all of us are slaves to Allah. We all have the same worth to each other as Muslims, but it still allows you to grape them. That seems so backward, man. It seems so messed up. There's no right hand possessed in the Quran. You're reading corrupted translation of the Quran. Are you high?
Remember, guys. If there's
Are you high?
If you ever see something that you whatever he doesn't like. If there's a passage he doesn't like, if there's a hadith he doesn't like, he can just say it's a corruption. You're reading a corruption. That's it. You're reading.
Well, he also said that the name Muhammad wasn't in the Quran. So
yeah, no, how can you tell him he's wrong?
Clanker.
Tommy's Clanker.
We could pull it up right now and show him he's wrong. It would not matter.
Mm-hmm.
Truth does not
sine wave for any man. No, dude, like that's so embarrassing. Like
it waited for one man.
Yeah, it did. This Muhammad. Yeah, you just don't know enough Arabic to understand it, I guess. That's literally what it means, my guy. Do you want me to bring up the Arabic concordance?
No.
I can show you it in the Arabic if you want it. Anyway, all of us already know that that's just not the case.
No.
But let's go through some of the background on how slavery has been practiced historically. I might take a pee break after that, but so the primary way, do you actually know the primary way you're allowed to get slaves as a Muslim? Because you're not allowed to kidnap.
Conquest.
Yes. The primary way of gathering slaves is only through conquest, and then you can also breed them. And you can buy them from a slave auction, but you cannot be the one who enslaves them to begin with unless it was through conquest. Yet, Muslim societies historically have always had the highest percentage of slaves in the world. Why is that if they were not colonizers? Why is that if they were not warmongers? Or they're just breaking their own laws and enslaving Black Africans for no reason. But interestingly, debt slavery is not allowed in Islam. You cannot voluntarily go into slavery to pay off debts, which is what the biblical slavery is. Because biblical slavery is not conquest slavery typically. It's not, you cannot kidnap someone or you'd be put to death. It's mostly indentured servitude, either through legal punishment because you were a criminal or through debt paying off. A large percentage of the world's slaves today right now are in Asia, and they are actually debt slaves. The vast majority of the rest of the slaves are sex slaves that are trafficked or Muslim slaves. Those are the three categories of slaves on the planet right now. So you can't kidnap, and yet you can, prostitute them. So even if you participate in raping your sex slave, you can also let other people do it to them, which is why part of the reason they can morally justify the grooming gangs that are happening in the UK. Because if I grab a white woman, she's now my possession legally. So because
you're conquering the land.
Yeah, and then I can lend her, because you can lend your slaves. I can lend her to my friends. So the dudes that are running like 100 or so men on a single girl, that is Islamically, that's halal. That's allowed because you capture them, and then you now are passing her along, which is allowed. It's halal. So you have that. You also, if you kill a slave, you are not punished. The only punishment you get is to replace. If you killed another person's slave, you have to pay financial loss for that, like the price of a slave. But if you kill your own slave, there's no penalty. So in the Bible, if you kill a slave, you're put to death. Very different. Very different. Also, slaves can't own property in Islam. They can in the Bible. But I want you to guess what percentage of the world do you think is enslaved right now? Because we currently have an all-time high in sheer number, but some of the lowest per capita in world history. But there's more slaves alive now than any other time in history.
Well, Chris,
that's not fair because there's 8 billion people.
I would like to say that anyone who has not believed in the name of the only begotten Son of God is in fact a slave to sin. So, but I digress.
We can end it right there. That was so good. That'll preach. That'll preach. I'm going to say
2%.
8%.
Wow, both of you are way overshooting it.
Really?
It's 0.67% of the world is enslaved.
Shut up.
Oh my goodness, my guy. Okay. So about 1 in 150 people are enslaved globally at the moment. There's around 50 to 60 million slaves on the planet, and there's around 8 billion people. So you would need 600 million slaves in order for it to be like a 10% or percentage of it. Radically larger numbers. So 1 in 500 people globally are enslaved. If we look at the other areas of the world, how these statistics break down, it's pretty interesting. So Asia has the most amount of slaves in just sheer numbers, like 28 million slaves in Asia out of the 50 million. So the majority of slaves are in Asia. Mostly in non-Muslim countries, although there's a high percentage in the Muslim country in Asia. So you have that. Per capita, or there's about 1 in 175 people are slaves in Asia. So around 0.58%. They're about 0.1% lesser than the global average in Asia. Even though they have the highest amount of slaves, they also have the, like more 60% of the global population. They have 5 billion people in Asia. So even though there's like 28 million, it's 5 billion people. It's a very, very small percentage. They usually export them to, Asia exports to Islamic countries. They do. So does Africa. So Africa has a fairly high percentage of slaves as well, with about 1 in 250. That's about 0.44% of their population is enslaved, but half of Africans are Muslim. So there's mostly Christian slaves that are being enslaved by Muslims in Africa. Europe has a surprisingly high percentage of slaves, but a lot of that is also because of immigration. Europe has a 0.86% of its population is slaves. So it's actually higher than the global average. Brazil and South America at large, but we mostly have statistics for Brazil. Brazil has around 1 million slaves, which is around 0.47% of its population. So again, less than the global average. America and Canada together have around 0.13% of their population as slaves. That's the lowest in any of the developed world. So America has the least number of slaves in the world. What country do you think?
I was reading the comments. What is America's percentage again? I would just like to.
0.13%.
Based.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming slavery, like that includes like trafficking and like kids and
sex
all that
trafficking,
kind of stuff too. Yeah, okay.
all of them. Yep. So that's most of our slavery is sex trafficking.
Yeah.
The vast majority of it.
Right.
Yeah. Most of Asia's slavery is not sex trafficking, it is labor.
Yes.
Like the sweatshops. Yeah.
I was gonna say, and then when it comes to like Middle Eastern, isn't there also a lot of slavery that's like military based?
Yeah, like they inscribe children into the service. So Africans have a high percentage because of that as well.
What do you mean slavery's in the Bible and not in the Quran?
Slavery is not in the Quran. You cannot be a legitimate person, or you've never read the Quran.
What?
You're either a troll or you're deeply ignorant of your book. I don't know which it is, but that's an insane statement. Do you know, slavery has been institutionalized so much. Do you know what country on the planet has the highest percentage of slaves?
Enlighten me.
I'll give you 2 guesses.
Based on Chase, is your face frozen? Oh, that's so funny. Afghanistan.
They're up there. They're over 1%. The country with the highest percentage of slaves is Saudi Arabia.
I was about
to say
Saudi
1
Arabia.
in 50 people enslaved in that country. It is around 2.11% of their population. It's a little bit worse than 1 in 50. So America is at 0.13. Saudi Arabia is at 2.11%.
Wow.
Arabia, the Arabian Peninsula, has on average 2.13% of their population as slaves. It's 1,700,000 slaves in Arabia. That's the highest percentage of anywhere in the world, and it is around 5 times higher than the global average. It is entirely Muslim.
Yeah, I was about to say, could we just take a wild guess as to which religion is predominant in this area of the world? It would be Islam, yeah.
Saudi Arabia has 740,000 slaves that are estimated. That's likely in under accounts. It's probably higher than that.
But you know what? They also have the disease-free city.
Saudi Arabia is the highest.
Medina. So
yeah, Saudi Arabia is 3.14 times higher than anywhere else in the world, other than other Muslim countries.
Oh, wonderful.
I was doing these statistics beforehand. You can check my work. There's 740,000 slaves in Saudi Arabia. That's 2.11% of their population. So there's around 400,000 slaves in America, estimated. Those statistics have held true since 2005, because I looked at statistics for the last 20 years. So Saudi Arabia only made slavery illegal or criminalized slavery in the 60s because America forced them to. Otherwise, they were perfectly happy having Black African slaves. But there's also a story from like the 2000s, 2010s, where a house slave escaped, was raped by 48 men, and then sent back.
You said 48?
Yeah, including the police that arrested her.
Hold on. When did you say that happened?
The 2000s or so.
Oh.
That was a while ago. But,
wow.
Saudi Arabia. Yeah, Saudi Arabia. It's a great place. Mecca is the sexual assault capital of the world. By far. It's not even close. Yeah. That is known slaves. Where'd the Calvinist go? It's wild.
I'm back.
We have another one. Matro said you're just making stuff up. 48 people. You're making things up.
Wait, do we have 48 people watching?
No. No. Story that you.
Yeah.
You missed.
One of the slaves that got raped. Story. Yeah.
Okay, would you mind pulling up that last comment real quick for me, just so I can? Yeah. So when the Almighty judges you and you play ignorance, He will tell you that I have sent my messenger to you, informing you of the truth and of this day. What are you going to do to say by slandering?
Listen,
see, unfortunately, when the Almighty, whose name happens to be Jesus Christ, is committed judgment over the entirety of the world, I will account for my sin, but it will have been purchased and washed clean by the blood of Jesus Christ, and I will receive the crown of life. So,
yep. Yeah.
Ooh, judge with our scripture. Hold on. He said judge with our scripture, just like the Quran says.
Yeah, we do. And we have that Islam is false.
It means we have our scriptures. Thank you.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So
Jesus didn't say that unaliving kids was okay. What point did you get that?
Oh, go back. Whatever your mom told you that, you need to go back to him and get your money back.
Man, that's yeah, I'm sure he's probably like referring to the one random parable of like bring them to my feet and I'll slaughter them here, like, which is not Jesus saying that. He's telling a story by and do, but Muslims can't read context. So,
Yeah, and we have over 49 Qurans. So
which gospels? I have over 30. See,
I'm gonna go pee real quick.
By the year 150, we already knew beyond a shadow of a doubt what the 4 gospels were, and they were being taught. And Irenaeus doubles down in 180, and he says that the gospels are Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. All 4 of them were fully circulating, written, and being copied down by all the churches within the first 60 to 70 years post Jesus' death and resurrection. We don't get the life of Muhammad, the first work of Muhammad's life, for 2 centuries after his death. See what he does next. He just goes to
numbers 31.
He just goes to numbers. It's like, oh, whoa.
Yeah. Yeah, we've dealt with that before, though. So
yeah, I think it's so funny. And then, of course, the subtlety of then it's a Trinity question too, because it's, oh, well, who gave the order, Jesus or the Holy Spirit or the Father, all the above? Matro, you have such powerful dawa. You are so. I'm shaking right now with fear that you have just crumbled the religion.
I'm shaking in the fear of the last day when Jesus is going to, come back and cleanse, the earth and stop wars and stuff like you believe is going to happen.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yes, there is such a thing as a Muslim country. What are you talking about? Like, these countries are explicitly Muslim.
Bro, I have been saying Hassan is a troll. I fully believe this man is just laughing right now, posting things that he knows are obviously false.
Yeah, he has to be.
Stupid Christian West.
That's actually a good point. There's actually one country that has more slaves than Saudi Arabia.
Which country is that?
North Korea.
Oh, yeah.
Because the entire population are slaves.
Oddly enough, I recently discovered a fellow on YouTube who escaped from North Korea, and he's really cool. I forgot his name, but super dope dude. He escaped twice, I think, and really cool story. I don't think he's a Christian. I haven't completely watched his whole video, but yeah, pretty based guy. Woman
based. This is the proofs. Yeah. Man, it's such a yeah, painful. Anyway, other countries that have really high percentages: Turkey, UAE, Syria, Tajikistan.
To what?
Iraq. Iran did, but not nearly as bad as what it used to.
Yeah.
So. Yeah.
I just want to point out, Matro, go to Numbers 31, read verse 15 and 16, not just 17 and 18, and then tell me who gave the command to do that.
Pakistan apparently has 2 million. What's their population?
I didn't say read all of Numbers. I said read in the chapter.
That's what another brother in the comment section said.
Oh, sorry. I was not paying attention to the comment section.
Yeah, no.
Oh, just shy of 1%. Still 0.2 per better or worse than the global average. So Pakistan pretty high. Bangladesh is also really high. Surprisingly, China's pretty high.
Islam does not literally mean peacemaking, harmonious way of life. That is in fact a lie. I've never heard that before. I've heard that Islam means peace, but peacemaking, harmonious way of life. That's a new one. I haven't heard that
Yes.
one before.
I said,
I mean,
read
he's just
read the 2
lying.
verses that come before what you said, because you said that was a direct command from God. It's not. That was a command by Moses. The concept of the holy book being every word of it is commands from God is a Quran thing. The Bible also includes the failures of men. We don't believe we believe the Bible is inspired. We believe the Bible is it is still the word of God, but it's also a collection of history. And so the only Christianity does not include the idea that all the prophets never did anything wrong. We fully believe prophets made bad decisions and did bad things because they were sinners. They were human. So again, you're telling me Jesus commanded them to slaughter. Okay. Thank you. I appreciate that a lot, actually. Thank you.
Yes, we appreciate that.
Oh, I can't get past this. True law has never been tried. It's so funny. He's like a communist.
Yeah, so that was a command given by Moses in the heat of the moment. Maybe in religious fervor, maybe not. Who knows? But not something that the Lord commanded.
He did other things in religious fervor too, like he broke the 10 Commandments.
Literally, whilst
Moses did break the 10 Commandments,
literally and figuratively.
Well, and it's also it's like the passage. So there's a passage that appears 3 different times in the Bible where it's dash your little ones against the rock.
Mm-hmm.
But the source of that is that in they had a thing called the Songs of Ascent. Okay, this is what they would sing on their way to the temple. When Babylon came in and wiped Israel out and took them into captivity, they were literally killing and slaughtering, and they were dashing little ones against the rock. And they were telling the Israelites, sing us your songs, sing the songs to us. And that's when the people of Israel were telling Babylon, they were calling for what Babylon was doing to them to happen to them. They were saying, what you've done to us, have it be done unto you. Dash your little ones against the rocks, because they were already doing that. So
I'm assuming he's talking about the passage in where they're fighting the Moabites, and he tells them to kill the men, women, and children of the Moabites, except the women who've not known.
That was Numbers 31.
Prostitution.
That's what he was.
Oh, that's what he's bringing up earlier.
No,
is that not?
No,
I don't think that's Numbers 31.
Numbers 31 is not that. Numbers 31, 15. Moses said to them that. So he said, "Have you saved all the women alive?" That's Numbers 31. Behold, these caused the children of Israel through the counsel of Balaam to commit trespass against the Lord in the matter of Peor, and there was a plague among the congregation of the Lord. Now therefore kill every male among the little ones, and kill every woman that hath known man by lying with him. So that's Numbers 31. Is that what you were talking about, Chris? Or are you talking about the?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, so that was Moses's command to the children of Israel.
But that's also in response to what the Moabites were doing. I don't remember if you guys went over that, but the Moabites were getting the Jews to sin by temple prostitution. And so they were killed for that purpose. And then the women were spared not to become sex slaves, because that's illegal in the Bible, but to save the little girl's life. Because if you just wipe out the community and leave the children there without any adults, they're going to starve to death. So what do? You let the little kids starve to death, or you take them with you? What did they do with them? They just adopted them. They brought them in as servants or as daughters. They wed them eventually. Like, they just became part of the community.
1 Samuel 15.
That's more humane than just leaving them alone. But those people were human sacrificers and temple prostitution. And lots of things that you, by your religious standard, would kill them for.
So I read First Samuel, and this is not. So I want to say one more thing. This is not the intent of this stream. The stream is about slavery in the legal code in Afghanistan. But
yeah,
I will
done with that though.
Well, I will say this. So yes, I will answer that. Yes, God did command the destruction of the Amalekites. Why he commanded the destruction of the Amalekites was because of what the Amalekites did to Israel in their escape from Egypt. When God brought them out of Egypt, God remembered what the Amalekites did to Israel, and he also viewed that the Amalekites were wicked, and so he was enacting judgment on the Amalekites. If he is God over all things, he is allowed to do that. And it's actually, if you go through and read the whole passage, Saul actually doesn't do what God calls Saul to do. It's one of the first major moments. It's not one of the first. It's one of in the middle of God not realizing, but announcing that he has regretted making Saul king, right, because he doesn't do anything he's asked to do. He does it for his own agenda.
Yep. We also see a lot of the groups that were supposedly wiped out also come up later on in the Bible.
Did they pay taxes?
They just pop into existence again. So it's either they were not fully wiped out because it was an exaggeration, because that exact phrase is an exaggeratory phrase of, hey, if we're going to war, we're gonna wipe them out, we're gonna mop the floor with them. It was hyperbole. So it's not literal kill them to where there's none of them that are still alive, because our book actually has metaphors and linguistic usage and complexities to the language, and it's not just literal all the time, which can be different. It's a very different genre than the Quran. The Bible and the Quran are unrelated. There's almost nothing identical between them, both in style and content and logic, morality. None of it is the same at all. So it's hard for Muslims to understand the Bible, and it's hard for Christians to understand the Quran, and Jews to understand the Quran. Although the Jews get it because the Quran is just the Talmud, to paraphrase the Talmud. But yeah.
So yes, I won't deny that. Yes, God did command that, and I'm not going to deny there are other places that God does command for Israel to take out a group. But like Chris said, that the wording, it would be the same as today. This is a very silly comparison, but if you're watching a basketball game and LeBron dunks and the announcers go crazy and they say LeBron James has no regard for human life, does he actually have no regard for human life, or were they just really excited in the moment? And so they said that, right? So the writing, we have evidence that Hebrew was that, the linguistic style of ancient Hebrew was very expressive and very, they use words to it's totality, right? They use a lot of language to sound like we wiped everybody out. And then those same people are paying taxes in 5 chapters later.
Mm-hmm. Also, the only prohibition for killing children in the Quran is if you're poor and you're afraid of beating them. Otherwise, if they're kafir, you can kill them. There's nothing haram about killing children if they're kafir, which is why Muslims have done it for centuries. Literally over 1,000 years, Muslims have killed children of the kafir. You just want to read the commentaries, it's there.
Yeah, I just I think that the Lord also has the right to govern creation and people the way that he sees fit. Yep. And these people not only waited for the children of Israel on their way out of Egypt. So literally they like ambushed them essentially. And it wasn't a military exercise either. They just ambushed the country, like the people, right? And so it was very not great part of that. And so because he remembered that the Amalekites also did not spare the women, the children, and the men of Israel at that time, he was not going to have that same mercy on them, which is completely within his right, in my opinion. So,
like, I think this gets into the idea of,
read this real quick.
like God's justice too. Like the fact that in Islam you only have the concept of God being the merciful, but there's no idea of the divine justice. That, you know, in Christianity you get the divine justice. You get that God is fully just, and so his actions will also be just.
The safe zone. Okay. The prophet passed by me at a place called Al-Abba, or Wadan, and was asked whether it was permissible to attack the pagan warriors at night with the probability of exposing the women and children to danger. The prophet replied, "They, the women and children, are from the pagans." Also heard the prophet saying the institution of Hima is invalid except for Allah and his apostle. So only Allah and Muhammad can decide where there's a safe place for children and women to live. So apparently what that means is an area set aside for safety or conservation. So Sahih Bukhari, Muhammad is permitting to attack a institute with women and children, even if they are killed in the process. So yeah, there's a bunch of other ones like that too.
okay, wait.
Muslim has one like that.
I may have been wrong. I thought that Amalek just came out and indiscriminately fought them. But it's Exodus 17. It says, then came Amalek, fought with Israel and Rephidim. And they said, choose us men, go fight with Amalek. So I was under the impression that they fought them and then, but I could have been wrong.
Comments funny. Yeah. I think I'm good. I don't really have the hadith pulled up for slavery right now anyway. So, unless you just want to keep talking to our friend here, who may or may not be a troll. Macho's pretty based. I like him. Yeah. Pretty cool dude. At least willing to admit that he didn't read it right, but the other guy is just craziness.
So Matra, I'm assuming you're a Muslim. Anything that happens ever in your paradigm is God's command.
I'll just look that up. Right. Yeah.
So yeah. So because you believe in obviously determinism, because you have to believe in determinism,
you do.
Everything that happens is his command.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Sahih Muslim, the suckling stuff. Which is actually because of Muhammad being a disgusting pervert. According to the Quran. The Quran says that you can't marry your son's wife. So he destroys adoption. The reason, do you know the backstory of the suckling? Did you ever learn about that?
For like 10 times
adult. Yeah. You know why that came about in the Quran? In Surah 33?
Is it because of Umar? Or no, that was the covering.
That's the covering.
Yeah. No, I don't. Maybe I do and I forgot, but I don't know.
One of the companions, and this comes from Sahih Muslim, and I believe the Sirah, one of the companions of the Sahaba, they were having an adopted son. And whenever he got rid of adoption, the woman could no longer be without her hijab in front of her adopted son, because now she was not mahram to him. She could wed him if she wasn't married to his old, adopted father. But because she couldn't just be casual, because, if you were to walk into a tent, you could just walk in if it's your own house and you don't have to worry about it because all the women in that house, you should be able to see naked and it doesn't matter because you're not supposed to lust after them, which is the exact circumstance that Muhammad got himself in which he married Zainab to begin with, as he saw her mostly nude, or at least in undressed state, lusted after her, caused the divorce, married her, which all of that was not halal, all of that was haram. And then because of that, he created problems within his ummah for the people who adopted children, which is like one of the most righteous things you can possibly do with your life, is adopting children who have been abandoned and let go. Which Muhammad himself was an orphan. So you would think that he would not abolish adoption, but he's too horny. So because of that, there was this family and multiple families that could not just live life the way that they were. So his solution was for the woman to breastfeed 10 times the boy, and then she would become like his mother. And the same would happen if it was a boy or an adult man if they were still living together. That's the background of it. Then it got brought down to 5 times. But by the time it was destroyed, whenever he died and Aisha destroyed it by the goat, it was back up to 10 times. And there's different hadith that says that they were still reciting this in the Quran whenever Muhammad died. So that's the backstory. Because Muhammad was such a disgusting person who committed incest according to his own standard that he came up with in the Quran. There were this weird situation inside of a house, and that was his solution. That was Muhammad's solution. So,
mashallah.
Yeah. What about the wee in Perchina on the knees?
The what?
Oh, brother, I have no idea what you're trying to say about this. What? I'm assuming the Perchina on the knees is like a thing, but yeah.
Someone asked earlier how God can have regret. Because there are two different passages I can think of off the top of my head where God says, there's the one in Genesis where he says, I regret creating humankind. And then you've got the one in Samuel where he says, I regret making Saul king.
Mm-hmm. There's a couple other ones. Yeah. God can regret because of open theism.
I almost said, I was like, well, the easiest answer would be open theism.
It literally is. That is the easiest answer, and I think it's the correct answer.
No, I am sorry, Tommy. As of right now, I am not a based open theist. I am closest to a Molinist.
I think Molinism
so you at least have
purely biblical.
We have 3 Molinists. Well, I go a little bit farther than Molinism, but yeah.
Well, Molinism, I think you can be a Molinist and an open theist and a Molinist and a closed theist.
Yeah. It's just, I think it fits easier to be an open theist Molinist. But...
Yeah, and I would disagree.
When I was young, I heard life is a highway, and it really just made me think of the way God sees the future. And I was like, wow,
right.
Life really is a multi-lane highway.
Right. Yeah. I just went to their concert in St. Louis. It was pretty based.
That's sick.
Paul, he took the time. So the lead singer, he took the time to stop what everyone was doing. It's just like, so, life is pretty crazy right now. Everyone's like stressed out all the time. Social media is terrible. We're seeing all this craziness with like terrorism and whatnot. But I want you to remember the reason why you're stressed out right now is because you don't have a relationship with our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. And they started singing a gospel song in the middle of a Rascal Flatts concert. And it was just like, this is bass. This is really bass. So there's like 50,000 people in the arena, and like 2/3 of them were singing the gospel music.
No
Pretty cool.
Thomism is not greater than Virgin Molinism.
No. It's a daif right there, my guy.
That
but you so like you, Andrew. You let me down. Cuddle needed.
Matro, I would very, very much like to understand how you think that intentionally killing children who are not old enough to decipher right from wrong is objectively immoral under determinism. I'd be very curious to see how you came to that conclusion. Because yeah, there can't be that kind of morality under determinism. Because we believe that morality flows from God's person, and if God is the one determining these actions to happen, then is his person then compromised because they're happening and because he causes them to happen? It would be my question.
Did Hassan just commit blasphemy?
The Quran is the only revelation and source of Islam. We're not talking about the same thing. Muhammad never existed, but invented by Bukhari and his ilk. So he said this type of stuff in the comment section before, and I was like, "Are you a Muslim?"
I was gonna say that.
Yeah,
that would be considered blasphemy, right?
It is, because Muhammad's God. But I think he might be. So I think he's a very strange. Either he's entirely a troll, which is a real possibility, or he's just a very uninformed, Quran only Muslim or Muhammad mythicist.
Are there Islamic Muhammad mythicists?
Maybe either he's a troll or he's a Muhammad mythicist. Because this is not the first time he said this in my chat, though. He said this at least like 3 times.
He said a lot of really questionable things where I'm like, I don't know.
But it's been like weeks in the making. Like every week or so, he says something ridiculous in one of the chats on like a video or something. But he's said before that Muhammad never existed. And I was like, is he being rhetorical? Is he making a joke? Which I don't think you can actually make that joke as a Muslim.
No, you can't.
I just like that he calls it Bukhari and his ilk.
Right. Again, it's just like, what are you? You're like a psychologist would want to study your brain.
Doesn't the Quran say that nobody is a Muslim unless they follow everything that Muhammad has commanded, or is that in a hadith?
You have to be in line with Muhammad. I don't know if,
because it says they have to make you judge in all things between them.
Yeah, and nothing has been decreed except by Allah and his messenger. You have to follow Allah and his messenger. That comes up a lot, because even like Surah 26, which is the big cult one of believe in Allah and obey me. Believe in Allah and obey me. Believe in Allah and obey me. Like that line is like 13 times in that surah. It's the second longest surah in the Quran. And he just uses every single prophet he can think of in the moment to say, obey me. I think you have to obey, like you have to believe in Muhammad and obey him. He's a jinn is a while.
Unaliving with determinism. No, I'm not a determinist, bro. I'm saying that you're a determinist. And so that you can't excuse
as a Muslim.
Yeah, and so you can't excuse any of those things.
Right. The standard Islamic position is that Qadar is that there's exhaustive divine determinism. If you don't believe that, you are practicing bid'ah, you are an innovator, you are a kafir, and you've left Islam. You have to believe in determinism as a Muslim. It's been divinely inspired. So the religion of Islam itself is slavery along with everything else it entails. Yeah, because everyone is a slave to Allah. It just is. So there's no issue with making other human slaves, because everyone's a slave ultimately.
So here's my problem, Matro. I'd like to put this to you. When I was conceived, you believed that at some point during the stages of my gestation, that I eventually had 2 angels given to me, and that one of them recorded everything that I would do, what I would become, how long my life would be, and the like. And so if I go and do something immoral, does that make it immoral for me, or does it make it immoral for Allah to command me to do said immoral thing? Because I'm not doing anything in Islam. Allah's commanding me to do these things. Like literally an angel wrote everything that I would do down before I did it or was born. So I'm just curious. How can I be a moral person?
You can't.
And how right, like how can I be moral?
There's no right hand possessed in the Quran. Look up. Oh man, this guy has to be a troll. Quran comprises of the Torah, Injil, Zabur, and the revelation given to Abraham. You mean the Kitab?
The
Of the
messengers?
heavenly tablets? The heavenly tablet given to all prophets? That's not the Quran. The Quran is the Arabic Kitab. The Torah is the Hebrew Kitab. The Injil is the Greek Kitab.
Yeah.
The Zabur is the Aramaic Kitab. The one given to Abraham is, who knows, maybe Ugaritic Kitab. But that is, you just don't, you can't be a Muslim. I don't think you're actually a Muslim. I think you're just some like atheist trolling. Yeah, man.
Atheists generally spell correctly though. Because
no, hold on. Metro, the thing is, so if Allah, no, there's no
free will.
So hold on, I think time out. I think this is just something you might not know about, and so there are so many passages in the Quran that show that Allah is in full exhaustive control of everything. If you and that everything has been predetermined by the will of Allah.
Yep.
So you don't make choices in Islamic theology. Like all of your choices have been predetermined.
Yeah. You get this also with passages like Allah killed so and so, and it's not literally Allah doing it, it's like an angel of death or a human or a jinn, but Allah is taking credit for it because ultimately everything is Allah's doing. And we get in the Quran that Allah causes the kafir to disbelieve, and he causes the believers to believe. You don't actually choose. So if Islam is true, there's literally nothing I or anyone else could do to become a Muslim. There's nothing that a Muslim could do to become a kafir.
17.
Those who will be saved will be saved. Those who will not be saved will not be saved. And Allah is evil for torturing the ones who will not be saved because he himself said, I could. So this is in the Quran. Let me just find the exact passage.
Yeah, I got you. It's Surah 50.
Is that Surah 50 for I could choose to save everyone, but I'm not?
No, not that.
Okay, let me bring that up.
So Surah 50.
I'm pretty sure that one's earlier.
And we have created man and know what his soul whispers to him, and we are closer to him than his jugular vein. When the two receivers, recording angels, receive seated on the right and the left, he, i.e. man, utters no word except that with him is an observer prepared to record. So the tafsir of the angels, the two angels,
so I believe God knows everything that's logically possible, and I would just say not all of the future is logically possible to be known. Kind of like how it's not possible to know what a square circle is. It might not be, if we actually have free will and open theism is true, it would not be logically possible for God to know the exact future that will occur until it is happening. He knows probabilities. He knows all possible futures. He knows everything that could be known. He's still omniscient, but omniscience would be limited by what is logically possible, just as omnipotence is limited by what is logically possible. God cannot make a burrito that's too heavy to lift for himself. That's a logical impossibility. But,
and then another side of it is saying that, God's foreknowledge does not necessitate that he caused actions to happen. So even if God has foreknowledge of who will and who won't be saved, that does not mean that he forced actions to happen. So if God is outside of his creation and he is outside of time, meaning that God can be at the end of time and the beginning of time all at once, well, then obviously he knows who is going to be saved. That doesn't mean he determined who would be saved.
Yeah, here we go. Okay, so here's Sahih Bukhari 32. Yeah, 3208. Says Allah's messenger, the true and truly inspired, said, the matter of the creation of a human being is put together in the womb of the mother in 40 days, and then he becomes a clot of thick blood for a similar period, and then a piece of flesh for a similar period. Then Allah sends an angel who is ordered to write 4 things. He is ordered to write down his, i.e. the new creature's, deeds, his livelihood, his date of death, and whether he will be blessed or wretched in religion. Then the soul is breathed into him, so a man amongst you may do good deeds till there is only a cubit between him and paradise. And then what has been written for him decides his behavior, and he starts doing evil deeds, characteristics of the people of the hellfire. And similarly, a man amongst you may do evil deeds till there is only a cubit between him and the hellfire. And then what has been written for him decides his behavior, and he starts doing deeds characteristic of the people of paradise. So you have Muhammad saying that all of your deeds are written in this book before you are born, and whether or not you're going to go to heaven or hell. And he even says that if you are a cubit away from paradise, but it was written in your book that you're going to hell, then you're going to start acting like somebody who's going to hell, and you're going to go to hell. And you could be a cubit away from hell, but if it was written in your book that you're going to heaven, then you are going to start acting like a person who's going to heaven, and you're going to go to heaven. So that's the problem that I have, right? I was determined to do these things. I was determined to be a Christian. I was determined to believe in Jesus and the Bible and all these things. And if you say that these things are wrong, then God made me do it anyways.
Yep.
So what am I supposed to do about it?
Found the verse. Let me bring this up. 1099 is the verse. That's not the verse. Sharing the wrong screen. 1099.
Are you putting yourself on par with Muhammad there, Dajjal?
Probably, guys.
I am a messenger sent to you by the Almighty. Isn't Muhammad?
If your Lord willed, all who are on the earth would have believed together. If Allah wanted us to, we could have all been saved.
Yep.
But yet, he didn't. And then get a similar thing in 100, or Surah 11, I believe Hud, 118, 19. And if your Lord had willed, we indeed would have made mankind one nation, yet they do not stop disagreeing, except whom on whom your Lord has mercy, for what he created them, and the word of your Lord has been fulfilled. Indeed, I will fill Gehenna with the jinn and mankind together. So he created some for salvation, and the rest of them he is filling Gehenna with. So he could have saved everyone, but is deliberately choosing to create people to suffer forever in hell. And we don't have a choice in the matter. We do not have free will to deny him.
Nope.
What's the cat's name? Tommy out here asking the real questions.
My cat, her name is Cinnamon, because we also have a Toast. They don't get along. That's why Cinnamon is in this room, because
you have a Crunch?
Toast was here longer. Not yet.
Yeah, French.
I'll pass that one along to the
Crunch. Wife. Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Yeah.
French toast.
Where's the cinnamon going? Cinnamon toast
on the French toast.
Beautiful. Nah. I mean, yes, but it goes in the French toast.
Yeah.
You know, powder the outside. You got to make a good custard. Anyway. 32 also has something else of this ilk. So again, 32, 13. Just for those who don't know the Quran. And if we had willed, we could have given every soul its guidance. But the word from me concerning evildoers took effect, and I will fill Gehenna with the jinn and mankind together. If we willed, we could have saved mankind. But he chose to fill hell with us. If Allah had willed, this is 42:8, if Allah had willed, he could have made them one community, but Allah brings those to whom he wills into his mercy, and the wrongdoers have no friend or helper. He could have saved everyone.
You know what's funny?
He could have. The kafir do not disbelieve of their own free will. They are forced to disbelieve.
Yeah, he's just coping now. But you know what's funny is that in that last verse that you just brought up, it said that the wrongdoers have no friend.
Yep.
And that's directly opposed to the gospel, right? So like we believe that the Lord Jesus is a friend to anybody who wants to be his friend. So the wrongdoer can have a friend in Christianity. And I think that's a very key distinction between Islam and Christianity, is that Allah is a vindictive hater of so many people, whereas, obviously our Savior loves everybody and wills for everyone to come to the knowledge of his Son, i.e. 2 Peter 3:9. So I just I don't understand why this is even a conversation.
Yeah. We still have one more after this one too. And the direction of the way belongs to Allah, and some do not go straight, and if Allah had willed, he would have led you all rightly. 6:149 as well. So this is part of the doctrine of Qadar, which is divine exhaustive predestination. So right towards the end, I went past it, right towards the end of this. Say, for Allah's is the final argument. If he had willed, he could indeed have guided all of you.
Alhamdulillah.
According to the Quran, Allah could have saved all of mankind, and yet chose to kill 99% of people, according to Islam, because there's only one part. And let me actually bring that up. Only one group out of 72 hadith. Sunan ibn Majah. Sahih. The Jews split into 72 sects, one of which will be in paradise, 70 in hell, or 71 sects. The Christians will split into 72 sects, 71 of which will be in hell and one in paradise. And I swear by the one whose hand is at the soul of Muhammad, my nation will split into 73 sects, one of which will be in paradise and 72 will be in hell. And it was said, O Messenger of Allah, who are they? He said, the main body. So the majority of Muslims are in hell, according to Sibn and Ibn Majah, 3992. Oh, but it's only Hassan. Hassan means it's good.
Yeah, and again, just like we talked about yesterday, Daif is good. It's good enough to be included.
Yes. So if we do some quick math real quick, what's 72 divided by 73? 98.6% of all of Muslims are in hell, and similar percentages for Jews and Christians, and then everyone else is in hell. So 99% or so of people in hell, according to the city.
And despite the fact that God could have saved 100% because of his exhaustive divine determinism.
Yep. He could have.
Because we
over and over again.
The thing about Christianity is that if, let's say that by some twisted turn of events that 99% of the human race were to end up in hell, that's not God's fault under Christianity. That would be mankind's fault for not believing on the only begotten Son of God.
Right. Also, JP Mexican, no, he did not get it right because it says that there's untold throngs before the throne of heaven. So maybe in these last times, we'll get billions of Christians that are going to be coming to the faith. That's still going to be a sizable percentage of people in human history. If you take a younger few, take an older few, then yeah, the vast majority of people probably in hell. Although there's debate on those before Christ, they still have the option of the cross because they're preached to in Gehenna. Could they have been saved? No idea. I think Muhammad is still exaggerating the numbers on who actually will be saved based on Revelation.
Yeah, also, we don't believe that 98% of Muslims are in hell, right? Like, there is not a single Muslim that is in heaven.
That's true, too. Yeah.
No, he didn't even get that right. Yeah, no.
Yeah, it's not right. It's
because
100%.
It's 100%.
Yeah.
Yes.
Did you guys already say something about Uno?
In the Bible? No.
Oh, that's
slavery in Islam is not the same as white man slavery. It's worse than the white man slavery.
There's whites in the Bible, by the way. Okay.
There are whites in the Bible. There's plenty of them.
There are whites in the Bible.
Also, yeah, it's like, for one, can you prove that? Two,
the Philistines were.
Even if you were
the Philistines were, the Romans by and large were white.
But it doesn't matter. Even if he was right. Even if he was right, who cares?
Yeah, for real.
Okay. Does there need to be whites in the Bible for white people to believe in Jesus?
Yes,
Are you ignorant? Like, I don't know. That's just it's a really dumb thing to say.
Including the Muslims who never heard of Christianity. Yes.
Well, if you're a Muslim, you should know about Isa.
But let's say that you were a Muslim who never read the Quran.
That's the debate. Yes. So that's actually part of it. If you have no accountability under the law doesn't necessarily apply. But at that point, your conscience would apply. So if you do things that go against God's law and go against your conscience, then you would still be able to be punished, although you're punished with fewer stripes. And Jesus says the slave or the servant that knows that they are willingly sinning is going to be beaten with many stripes. The servant that is unwittingly sinning is going to be beaten with fewer stripes. So Muslims would still be punished for their sin, as all people will be. But the Romans were Latins, the Philistines were Arabs.
Philistines
you are crazy.
What is this?
They're literally called the people of the sea.
Yeah, they're the people of the sea.
What are you talking
Yeah, they're literally the Greeks. Yeah,
they're from one of the islands.
It's funny, man.
The island of
I've actually never someone say the Romans were Latins.
Well, the problem is that
Jesus was white. Nobody said Jesus was white.
To be fair, though,
yeah, he's Semitic.
He's
brown.
He's Jewish.
He's Jew. Jews are brown.
But
typically,
we're not arguing
the German
you
Jews.
can't do a stream with 3 white Christians and just assume that we think Jesus is white. That is racist.
We're not dumb enough to think he's a white person.
That's actually racist. You came in and you
worship a Jew.
We think Jesus was white. You didn't even ask us anything. You're just making assertions.
White man slavery
3 white Christians,
people.
They probably think Jesus is white. That's hilarious.
White man slavery burned people and hung them.
Silly.
Yeah, so
Jews are not white people, in case you didn't know.
No. And not only that, but the Romans were white. Right? Like we can agree that the Romans were white. I don't think that
well, they were more olive colored, but yeah.
I mean, to be fair, the Romans were
if you call Italians white, then Romans are white.
Yeah, I would say that Italian people are white.
To be fair, Romans were a hodgepodge of multiple groups. The formations of Rome are very messy. There's not really
it's very messy and white.
Right. You guys think Italians are white? Come on.
I mean, okay, I've had this discussion actually with one of my coworkers if Italians are white or not. Because I was like, well, they do have olive skin, right? So they're not completely, but he was like, yeah, but they're white.
Okay, hold on. Matro was talking about how there are plenty of churches that have pictures of a white Jesus. That's just because of a lot of that's medieval. It's medieval art.
Yeah,
it's just medieval artwork.
Right. Just white people not knowing any better.
Yeah,
thousands of years later, or
just because there are people who believe that Jesus was white at some point in history doesn't mean that all Christians today believe that Jesus is white. Are there Christians who think Jesus was white? Yeah, I'm sure you can go to the deep south of America and find plenty of Christians who think Jesus is white. There's
also Christians who think Santa Claus is black. Like, what?
There are people who think
it's a nonsense.
Santa Claus is real.
Oh yeah, there's a Chinese Jesus too. Yeah, there's a lot. Like every ethnicity. Like there's an Arab. Have you seen Arab Jesus? He's pretty cool looking.
As I say, you can find an icon of Jesus and Mary in almost every culture. They are, and they're not.
Yeah, but also you were the one coming in here talking about skin color. That was not our thing.
We've pivoted now just because you came in here throwing around skin color like that's a big issue.
Yeah, the stream topic's pretty much over for the stream. We're just kind of.
I just find it interesting that Uno came in very aggressively, making like race claims for no reason.
Yeah. Okay. So what? Like, there's mass ignorance. There was mass ignorance in Islam. Like, that's just people were ignorant back in the day. What do you want?
Yeah. Tommy, Santa's not real.
Real.
I'm so sorry, Tommy. My bad. Santa's so real. Santa is as real as you want him to be.
His boyhood innocence. Yeah. My man was innocent before that. Destroyed it. Italians were a light brownish color, very bright.
Again, let's say that they were. Let's say that Italians aren't
it
white.
Doesn't really matter.
I don't care.
They're not like me. Or I guess Chase is also pretty pale. He was also pretty pale. Very pale.
It's just the light. Look at that. Now I'm blue.
You're blue. Yeah. No, I have literally like yellow lights on to make myself white or paler. I'm very pale.
Matro,
I look way darker than I actually am.
Matro, I will be very happy on the last days to bow down before a Middle Eastern man.
Yes,
I will be very
excited to bow down before
to a Jewish Middle Eastern man, and I have no problem whatever his skin color is, because it doesn't matter. Skin color is not a dividing factor. It doesn't matter. It is a ridiculous argument to make anything about race.
The color of his skin was not what saved mankind, but the blood that flowed down it was what saved mankind.
Also, isn't Muhammad's name mentioned during the prayer, the Salat? Aren't you bowing down to a Muslim 5 times a day? An Arab? Because the call to prayer has it. Pretty sure the prayer itself also has it. Yeah, it's peace be unto you, O Prophet, and the mercy of Allah and his blessings.
I don't think bro is ready for Muhammad was not an Ishmaelite debate.
Yeah, he's not even an Arab. He's a white boy.
Yeah.
Muhammad, the reason my name's Muhammad right now is because Muhammad looked like me. He's very pale. Very, very pale man. He had a red beard. He maybe had red hair. He was overweight, missing teeth, but he was a pale, overweight, old man, red beard, which is why Muslims dye their beards red now in the Middle East. Is because of Muhammad. And he also dyed his hair black, if I remember correctly. But yeah, he was a ginger. His mom likely was just, got off with a Greek dude or an Italian dude or something like that. Came out pale.
What about Abdullah?
Was dead before she was conceived, or he was conceived. Yeah. Anyway.
Oh, all right, guys. I think it's time for me to get off.
If you've seen the Gingers Have Souls video, that's what he would have looked like. Yes. That's Muhammad.
Matro, hold on.
Muhammad
Hold on,
was an
Matro.
Arab. No, he wasn't actually. He was not an Arab man.
Yeah, he was
Matro, before you leave, Matro, give me 1 second to go over my hadith notes and get you the exact hadith that describes Muhammad as white.
Yeah. You can also watch the Boom Boom Room of Queers for Palestine.
Oh.
That also has the whiteness. And you can also go over the KKK.
That's probably my favorite one. That's probably my favorite
KKK one. Goes through all of the sources for Muhammad being white, because it talks about the whiteness of his thighs, the whiteness of his armpits, the whiteness of his stomach, the whiteness of his face, the whiteness of his feet.
His forearm.
White for Arab standards. He also says he has red hair. And he's unusually white.
I was gonna say, Matro, if you go read Sahih al-Bukhari, go to Sahih al-Bukhari 63. There is a person who comes to speak to a group of that Muhammad is in, and they refer to Muhammad as that white, like they either refer to him as that white person. Hold on.
Literally, that white man is something with the.
Yeah, that white man.
You said just 63?
Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't even get to the triple digits before they talked about Muhammad being white.
I am not seeing that. Hold on.
He sees it.
Oh, he sees it. Yeah, this white man reclining on his arm.
And I'm sure that there are other ones. That's just, I was reading al-Bukhari all the way through. Like that, my goal was to try and read the whole thing, which I have not made that much progress on. But I think I only made it to like 80 something.
There is at least like a dozen or so ones that call him white. It is repeated over, and it's talks about specific parts of his body that are white, like things that you would not expect to be white for an Arab. If he's white,
white, see through.
He looked like us. He looks like us, is what we're saying. Like he was European because his mother was with the European because his father was already deceased, according to the Sirah.
So how long did it say that Muhammad was in the womb?
4 years.
4 years. Yeah, 4 years.
You cannot be pregnant for 4 years.
Again, I mean,
Europe.
No, but they're not Arab. They're not from Ishmael.
I gotta go, guys.
Anyway.
No.
Yeah, I'm gonna hop off too. Okay.
May
the grace of the Lord Jesus Christ.
Hope to see some of y'all back next week. This was fun conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Matro, Uno, just always feel free to come back, guys. Always feel free.
It was fun. And check out Sons of Thunder at Sons of Thunder Apologia. We actually have a couple of videos going through whether or not the Palestinians were the original people in the land. And I think you would find that very interesting because we, in fact, talked with the most Islamophobic man in the country, according to CARE. So he's a reliable source. But I like we actually go through everything that shows that that Palestine is not, an actual place until the Romans essentially called it that.
We've also found their tombs and did genetic testing on it, and the genetic testing came back Greek.
Yes.
So yeah, we've literally tested their DNA to show that they were actually not Arab; they were Greeks.
So came down in boats, settled, got whooped by the Egyptians, resettled into a into a section of the land of Israel.
Right. I gotta go.
Yeah. All right.
Bye, Andrew.
Okay. May the grace of the Lord Jesus Christ, love of God, and the fellowship of the Holy Spirit be with you always. Thanks for hanging out. Come to Christ.